Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, my name is Dave Scott, and we are very glad to be here with you. Let's turn that to blue. I want blue tonight. There we go. There we go. A blue Bigfoot. You never go wrong with that. As we get ready for Kaedrich Olsen tonight, we're going to have a lot of fun with him. And by God, does he have a sexy beard. Oh, it's gorgeous. You're going to see it here momentarily. But first, let's say hello to each and every one of you. Road Flair with the gold medal tonight. Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing the silver. Emperor Penguin taking home the bronze medal tonight. Kitty Caddywhack, Lisa Smith, Bar Madison, good to have you all here. Robert Lamoth, thank you for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call. T-Bone, my man, I'm going to give you a hat tip. There you go. That's for you, T-Bone. Just for you. Hope you're having a good night. Race fan, Tracy, the alien girl Winters, how are you? Tracy will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Necessary Dialogue, Anil, and just another guy named Harry. Good to have you all here. Cosmic Joe and Mel WD40, good to have you here. Mel is currently lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. Mel is making that happen, so thank you, Mel, for the lube. Candace Helfrich, how are you tonight? As we continue on with our roll call, Signs of Life and Noble Patrick, good to have you both here. Luscious Jules and Flat Six, good to see you both. Hi there, Corey and Susan, hiding as Morris. Thank you for coming on in. Polly Rotterman, how are you tonight? Hope you are well. There is Wayne. How you doing, Wayne? Lex Diaz is here. Lex Diaz will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Kitty Caddywhack, thank you so much for kicking off the super chat tonight. It is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much, Kitty. We appreciate you. Scrolling on down, let us next say hello to Eva. Eva. The Unknown, how are you doing? Good to have you here. Are we caught up already? Wow, nobody's flown over from the other show? Not yet. Maybe it jumped on me. Michelle Wilfong, how are you? From the beautiful state of Oregon. If you have an O on there, you're a spice. Oregano. She's from Oregano. Yeah. All right. 56 Bel Air. Nice to see you. Creepy Pasta. How's it going? Seven Systems. Thank you for joining us. Simply Coco, you lovely lady, you. What is the drink of choice tonight? Could you please let me know? I'm sure there's some vermouth in there somewhere. I just wanted to say vermouth. I don't know if there is or not, but vermouth just rolls off the tongue nicely. Vermouth. Warden Dragon, how you doing? Thank you for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call over on X Dookie Pickles. Good to have you here, my friend. Walter Kochabinski, nice to see you as we continue on with our roll call here tonight. Weird, the chat room did jump on me. Awesome. Love it when that happens. And where are we here? Scrolling on down, there's Paramarv. Good to have you here. CS, nice to see you. Night Drive, nice to have you back in the chat room. Jay True Seeker, how are you? River Dog, what's going on, my man? Thank you for coming on in. Jerence Carter, how you doing, buddy? Hold on. Let's get the radio side. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to get into a little bit of everything tonight. Kaedrich Olsen is going to join us. We're going to have a lot of fun. What are we going to talk about? Well, let me tell you, dark forces, spirit possessions, and much more as we are in roll call right now, warming up the show on our YouTube side. Simply Coco will be having Moscato Sangria. That is the drink of choice for tonight. Stargazer, how are you, my bud? Thank you for coming on in. And don't forget, hey, Rock and Rory, how are you? The super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. It's all about having great vibes and energy tonight. I need them. I know you need them. So let's just join those vibes together. Let's do us a favor here. Let's throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon and the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We're going to have an amazing show tonight. What's it like to be possessed? What's it like to see the darkness of the paranormal? Kaedrich Olsen is going to join us. We're going to get deep into all of this tonight. Then in hour number 3, Lee Strauss is going to join us for the Q&A. So make sure you participate in that because we like getting audience questions in there. But I'm excited about this guy because it's Kaedrich Olsen's first time on Spaced Out Radio. And let me tell you, I know this is going to be a good show right off the bat. How do I know? Because I know you can't see it on our radio side, but on the YouTube side, you can. We get a bird's eye view. This guy has a power beard of knowledge. That beard of knowledge is going to teach us tonight. And let me tell you a little bit about him. Kaedrich is a renowned author, speaker, spiritual teacher, and paranormal expert with over 30 years of experience helping others navigate the unseen realms. Known for his extraordinary life between worlds, Kaedrich brings deep wisdom and practical guidance to those ready to explore the mysteries of the afterlife, shadow work, and ancient spiritual traditions. From growing up in a haunted house to training in séance and channeling at a spiritualist church, Kaedrich's path has always been interested and intertwined with the supernatural. His lifelong connection with advanced spiritual beings, known as the Whisperers, gives him unparalleled insight into the spiritual dimensions, the structure of the afterlife, and how to work with spirits and entities of all kinds. Now, if that doesn't tickle your paranormal fancy, I don't know what is. Let's bring in the beard of paranormal knowledge, Kaedrich Olsen. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, man. Anytime. I can already tell this is going to be a good show, and I'm looking forward to it, my man. And I want to learn a little bit about you here right off the bat, because 30 years you've been delving into the paranormal and supernatural. What led you to this path?
That's a great question. And a little bit of clarification. It's been 30 years teaching people and helping people with it. And the reason why I make that distinction is I literally grew up with the paranormal. And what I mean by that is my mother's OBGYN when she was pregnant with me was Dr. Robert Bradley, who not only was the inventor of the Bradley method, natural method of childbirth, but he would hold regular seances in his home. Part of his story is captured in the movie The Changeling with George C. Scott way back in the 80s. And I attended a number of his lectures, met him personally a few times when he would teach at the spiritualist church that I was growing up in. So right off the bat, born into the paranormal, grew up in a haunted house. It was so haunted that, back in the old days, you remember these just like I do, where the TV dial you had to get up and walk across the room and change the dial. You say, "Hey, Dad, why can't we get a TV with a remote control?" And he would go, "Well, why do I need that? I got a remote control already." So right. you would actually be watching TV and the dial would physically change while you're watching the TV. The radios would turn on. My mom collected music boxes and they would all go off at the same time. You'd hear footsteps up and down the hallway. And like I said, I went to a spiritualist church, which is like your typical Protestant church. The services are just like you would expect in a normal Protestant church. But they concluded with 1 to 3 trance channelers coming up on stage at the end of the service, giving channeling. And every Saturday night in the basement, the church would hold seances. And I went to a psychic development class as a kid. Like I said, literally grew up with this. It's a natural, normal part of the world to me because I've been doing it for 53 years now.
Well, I want to tell you a little bit about me.
Mm-hmm.
December 13th, 2011, my first true, incredible paranormal experience, personal experience. I had lived in a haunted house and worked in a haunted building. I'd seen 2 UFOs at that time. I actually channeled the angel of death.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know what channeling was. I had seen him earlier on in my mother's eyes. And 2 hours after everybody had left my house, the angel of death came back to me and channeled through me on how to keep my mom alive.
Oh, good.
And the interesting part, there was a recording of it for 38 minutes. And then, do you remember the old iPhone 3's famous or infamous blue screens of death that immediately killed your phone?
Oh, no.
That's what wiped it out, unfortunately. But the one thing that I remember the most about that conversation with him, or him speaking through me, was the fact that he stated that my mom was ill. And that if we as a family did not start loving her more and showing her more love, he was going to take her home. He didn't say heaven. He didn't say hell. He said, take her home. I got another 12 years out of my mom, or 10 years. Yeah, 12 years out of my mom. She would have never met my son, and here she was, she passed away at the age of 80. And hard to believe mom was 80. Man, that's hard to believe. But nonetheless, it's weird how these phenomena can affect you. I mean, you got it early in your life, extremely early. I got it at 38 years old. I'm now 52, so I've been dealing with this for 14 years. I mean, how do you tell people who may not understand what this is all about that it doesn't matter what age it is? I mean, when the phenomena sets the hook in you like fishing, you got to answer the bell.
I tell people all the time that we live in a spiritual and a physical world. All the time. The paranormal is a completely normal part of our world. The supernatural, completely natural. And we were all born with paranormal abilities, our natural abilities, our natural gifts. It's when we think about kids having imaginary friends, or they're just aware of something else going on. They dream something very interesting, or they remember spontaneously a past life. That's their paranormal abilities. But what happens is mom and dad, oh, now it's just your imaginary friend. I don't want to hear any more of your little games. Go play in your room quiet. To even the fear that sets in, these are demons. These are awful, evil things. If you do that, you're going to hell. They're going to take your soul. Friends laughing at them in school and nobody else around them acknowledging that these things are around. So most people in this world just tune out their abilities. They just turn them off. They stop using them because it's a way of adapting to our society, our culture that's around us. And then something happens along the way in life. Those abilities kick on again. They start to wake up a little bit. They have a paranormal experience, an undeniable one. And then they go, oh, yeah, there is more to this world. There's more going on. And when I'm working with clients and they're working with their abilities or learning how to reconnect with them and re-understand them, every single one of them goes, oh, yeah, remember now, back in when I was a kid, this happened, that happened, this was going on, that was going on. Oh, what happened over the years? It's just what happens with our culture. And we can reclaim that. We can return back to our spiritual side and our spiritual existence.
As you went on your journey to learning and gaining knowledge, some of the paths that you went down, like when people ask me, let me rephrase that so I could put it as I would understand the question. When people ask me, hey man, how did you get into this? What did you do? How can I learn about this more? I always answer with a little bit of a smirk on my face. And I ask one question: how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? And it catches people off guard because they don't know if I'm telling the truth or if I'm just playing a joke on them. And then when they finally realize I'm being serious, it's kind of like that spiritual uh-oh movement that kind of kicks in on their face and their body language. For you, as you've developed your own skills and decided that you wanted to go deep down the rabbit hole, what kind of roadblocks did you hit? What kind of paths did you take?
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. What kind of roadblocks are there? Because me too. I'm just like everybody else. I'm human. I have insecurities. I have doubt. I have those blocks that just pop up. And the biggest one was I was always the weirdo. I was always the outcast. And there was no way I was fitting in with the normal mainstream world at all, which made it so challenging going through junior high and high school, because I was really the weirdo kid. Not only did I dress it, I was, the goth punk industrial kid, listening to that crazy music with the weird hair and the black clothes. I still wear all black clothes. It's just really comfortable. But it was trying to, get a job, trying to figure out what my place is in this world and who I am. And thinking I had to conform to mainstream standards, that I had to fit the norms of society, when really my uniqueness, my abilities, the things that I learned, the things that I grew were my strengths. And it took some inner shadow work. It took some deep introspection and some connecting with those dark thoughts of what was all around me to go, no. This is my strength. These are people reflecting their shadows that they learned. This is people trying to enforce their comfort zones onto me, which is not serving anybody at all. And so I learned to just say, okay, great. I'm going to fly my freak flag. I'm going to fly it proud. It's going to be everything I do, everywhere, all the time. That's me. And when I got over that hurdle, look where we are today. I'm helping to share these experiences with people and help them realize this is a natural, normal part of being a human.
This may be a tough follow-up to that. And I'm not sure how you're going to answer it, so I'm very curious. How has New Age spirituality, the peace, love, and light, the crystals, and the gem shops, the tarot cards, the tea leaf readers, how has that kind of changed the look at spirituality for you? Because so many people are delving into the last number of years, And the new age spirituality really seems to hit a big popularity with people, especially women, and especially, younger women. And my question to you, and the sex really isn't important, but my question to you about that is, I know a lot of people in my community who are into this new age of spirituality, that they're trying to find their path and find their own glory and their inner self and their spiritual peace on that. But in my opinion, spirituality is so much more than that, because you can't control what the phenomena is going to put in your road. Where I feel a lot of these new age spiritualists feel that they can control their own destiny because of the two words free will.
That's a fair question to ask, because the New Age community is almost a double-edged sword in a sense. Because remember where we are in the spiritual world these days, and where it was, if you remember the satanic panic of the 80s and how that really upset everybody. Let's take kind of like pull out. And this is going to be a bit of a long-winded answer. I apologize for that, but it's
no, please.
necessary.
We got 8 minutes. If you can take 8 minutes to shoot this question, I would love it. But take
Great.
your time.
Well, if we pull all the way back out, we go back to ancient societies. They lived and communicated and worked with the spiritual beings as a natural part of their world. That wasn't a scary thing. It wasn't an evil thing. But as medieval times came in and the church came in, it started to say only our church, only our way is it. Everything else is evil. Everything else is bad. People, were persecuted, killed, tortured because they believed in a different spiritual path. They believed a little bit different than the mainstream at that time. And so a lot of these mystery schools, a lot of these teaching groups had to go underground. They had to become really secret, which is where we get the word occult from. Occult means hidden. So they had to hide themselves so that they wouldn't get tortured and killed because of their spiritual growth, their spiritual practices. And the church is really, really good at PR. They can find a group that they don't like, that they don't agree with, and convince the population that these are evil, satanic people trying to come and get your children and destroy your family and ruin everything. And fear is a powerful motivator. And the church is an authority. So people believe that. People follow that thoroughly. Well, now comes along the even the 19th century with the Miracle Club and the folks in New York that were working on the whole power of positive thinking, the power of attraction, all of that, law of attraction, all that. It had to be very saccharine. It had to be very peace, love, and light, puppy dogs and rainbows, so that it wasn't scaring the mainstream people. So the people would see this and go, oh, the threefold law, oh, this good stuff, this happy, wonderful stuff. Yeah, okay, these aren't bad people, they're just weird. Because anything that wasn't part of mainstream religion was instantly lambasted as evil. As we are progressing, though, from the mid-1900s, from the mid-20th century into where we are today, there is a limiting factor to the New Age community, because it is peace, love, and light. And that could lead to some spiritual bypassing. Oh, I'm angry. I must not be very spiritual. I must not be doing my spiritual work. I have negative thoughts. I have bad thoughts. It must mean I'm not really a good person. So let's throw more peace, love, and light at it. And it pushes down those darker aspects of ourselves, which really need to be taken a look at, which we have to have a harder look at what that is. And so, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. We need that peace, love, and light in a sense to reach more of the mainstream so that it doesn't look as evil, satanic people coming to take our children. But at the same time, it's limiting because it's not giving the full picture, the full spectrum of humanity, the spiritual community, what goes on in so many different places. So I have a complex answer to that one. So I apologize for that.
And I think that's a good answer. I think that's a good answer. And I was kind of giggling inside my head here as you were answering that, because I'm like, geez, when I go to the local, markets, because I live in a small town where local markets are still a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you go there and you see the people who have all the gemstones and the bracelets and the necklaces. And, this is a piece of go F yourself height, and if you wear this on your necklace, around your neck, between the hours of 6 and 9, it's going to purify your chakras or whatever you want to call it. I go to those people when I go around them, because I look at them and I'm like, man, you're so out of touch with what the phenomena really is. You don't need that crystal. You don't need that necklace or that bracelet or whatever. I mean, and I say that as a hypocrite because I have a bracelet of sodalite on my microphone. Okay. So I'm speaking from falling for it at one point, but now I just kind of look at it on my own spiritual path and say, isn't this just all inside of us? And when you give yourself to the phenomena, which I still think is quite godly, and probably is a path of God in a way, a different way, isn't it just about what is in tune with you and what you're allowing yourself to get in tune with, rather than using a crutch of a crystal or of a gemstone?
Yes and no. It's what I call the believing seeing dynamic. And what I mean by that is if you can believe it just a little bit, you'll see it a little bit, which then reinforces that belief. So now you have more of a belief. So now you see it more. And you see it more, you believe it more. And people have been trained that they are not connected to the spiritual, that they are not in the spiritual world. People have been trained to be completely shut down. And so when they get some of these tools, when they learn some of the rituals, some of the practices, even if it's wearing a crystal or any of the stones, they believe it. And then they start to see it. And then they start to progress. And then they get to the point, just like what you're saying, is like, oh, this was always in me the entire time. I don't need to do all that. I don't need to do all this. It's just me. But it also helps in a group setting. Like if you get a group of people together and you're doing the same processes and they all agree what these tools are and what they're doing, it helps their minds tune into the same process. But again, it's just tools. They're just physical tools to affect our consciousness, because you're absolutely right. It's within us. And you will get to the point where you don't need any of that because you won't use it in the afterlife. You won't use it when you have no longer a body. So it's that believing, seeing dynamic that will eventually get you to that place.
Okay, so with 2 minutes to go here, isn't that putting your trust in some sort of falsehood or false idol?
At first, yes. And if you leave it there, you can get stuck there. But if you continue to grow, see, I tell people all the time, if you ever find an answer, you went the wrong way. But if you keep finding ways to ask better questions, you're headed in the right direction. So if you say, well, I've got my crystal, that's all I need, done. And for some people, that's enough. And if that's all they want, let them have it. But if other people are using that to ask better questions, they'll get to that point. They'll get there.
I love chatting with you already. I do. I do. You're like instantly one of my favorites after 11 years.
Thank
You're
you.
instantly one of my favorites. So I'm so excited about this. And trust me, when I say this, and I know I've read a couple of comments in our chat rooms already, I'm not saying this to put down people for, going to the store to buy amulite or sodalite or any type of crystal. I mean, hell, at my gifting site, I have jade, I have quartz there because apparently Sasquatch likes them, even though they haven't taken mine yet. Okay, so I'm not saying that it's out of the realm that these things don't help. What I am saying is, as Kaedrich just said, this is all really within us. It's already built in. It's stored in the body. It's stored in the brain, the mind, and the soul. You don't need the stuff or to spend a ton of money. It's like ghost hunting. When you hear people go ghost hunting, Kaedrich, they think they got to go to the ghost store and buy $600, $700, $800, $900 worth of equipment. When your best equipment is your body, your best equipment is your brain, your eyes, your ears, your nose. For some of us who have a nose that works, that's what it's all about. And that's what I just don't like people getting sucked in. That's, I think, the big thing. And Kaedrich, I hate to cut you off right there, but we are going to go to our first break at the bottom of the hour. Kaedrich Olsen, his website, kaedrich.com. You can check him on out there. Spiritual status, shadow beings, dark forces, manipulation, and more. from the spirit realm with Kaedrich Olsen next on Spaced Out Radio. You have to forgive me because I know there are topics that I want to hit, but sometimes when the conversation gets good, I just kind of get lost.
Oh, not a worry, not a worry. I could keep going on this one to the difference between esoteric and exoteric practices. And I put together a class about being your own K2 meter. I can keep going on this too.
Oh, my God, you are a wealth of knowledge, my man.
Thank you.
This is why, you are the beard of paranormal knowledge right there.
Indeed.
Right. Mr. B and friends, how you doing? Welcome. Jeff Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. All right. Skip to Malou, good morning to you. Vanessa, how are you this evening? And let's see here. Okay. I can just feel some of my listeners getting pissed off with me. Dave, don't you shut down my crystals. Don't you shut down my gems. Stop it. Stop it. Smacking my hand. That's okay.
No worries. I always wear a crystal myself. I just like the way it looks. I can feel it. I like the way it feels, but yeah.
The reason why I do keep Sodalite around is because it's alleged to help with depression, anxiety, and it helps with left-handed people because left-handed people are more creative than right-handed. And so I keep it on my microphone as a symbol of good luck.
There you
so
go.
I am being a complete hypocrite to what I just asked you. So, but that's okay.
Not at all. When we use amulets, I know we're not on air, but when we use amulets, it's actually what our intention is that we use it for. It's like a subconscious reminder. In hypnotherapy, we would call that an anchor. So when you get to a certain state of mind, a certain inner belief that you want to have, we anchor it so that a person can, do a certain mudra, they touch that body part, or they have an amulet like that reminds the subconscious to tune in. So just like what you're saying, it does have an effect on our psyche.
Totally does. No, I love it. And, I guess one of the big reasons why I kind of went down that road is I have a friend of mine right now who's way more, and I had a conversation with her the other day. She is way more powerful than what she knows, but she's caught up with the new age thinking that going down the rabbit hole scares her, even though she is of First Nations heritage and it comes naturally to her.
Yep. That's what I meant by our society and our culture. It just shuts that down everywhere.
Yeah. But she's very much she's very much battling between her on how she wants to take this because she is she's scared.
Yep.
Okay. She's scared of what she might see. She's scared of what she may channel. She's scared of what she may communicate with. She's scared. And the new age peace, love, and light is very much a protectant for her. It's like a safeguard. And so I'm not trying to get her to come out of that shell. And I had a conversation with her because our sons play hockey together. And I basically told her, I said, look, this is a decision you need to make. I said, but what you need to do is you need to talk to your guides and ask them point blank, did the people who train me maybe give me the proper building blocks, but the wrong information on how to put those blocks together?
Interesting.
And I said, your spirit guides may come back and say, Dave is completely wrong, or these other people are wrong, or may take you on a completely different path, and that's okay. There is no win-lose here.
Exactly.
I said, but you need to talk to your guides and just say, hey, man, like, was I given bad information? They'll tell you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that will open even more doors by learning to listen to those guides and connect with that information and using it.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. In the studio, how you doing? We got about 25 seconds. A big thank you to Kitty Caddywhack and Pam for the great super chats. Our audience is probably like, man, I didn't realize Dave goes this deep into the spiritual Zen mode, man. Yeah, I do. I do. It's relaxing to me to do that. Store is open on our website. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Let's kick off this next one. We're into the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. I love it when you're here listening. I can feel you all, and I can feel your love. Why? Because I'm on this kick lately, man. I'm on this kick lately that I'm tired of stress. I'm tired of the world. I'm tired of the drama and the politics and everything. I'm about love now, man. I'm changing my gear. I want to be more about the love. So I love you all for tuning us on in. Hey, we want to remind everybody that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Author, researcher, and a man with a beard of paranormal knowledge, Kaedrich Olsen is our guest tonight. For over 30 years, he has been teaching people how to deal with every facet of the paranormal world and the phenomena that exists all around us. His website, kaedrich.com, that's Kaedrich.com. Kaedrich, welcome back. A pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. This is a great conversation. I'm looking forward to continuing.
One of the topics that over the 10 years and 10 months that we have been doing this show, one of the topics that we've never did enough on is seances.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got to tell you, my friend, I want to take part in one of these so bad. So bad. For people who may not understand what a seance is, please break that down for us.
Absolutely. Think of it more of as a process to tune in. You see, we hear so much about the veil between worlds, like at midnight, the veil is thinnest between worlds, or somehow it's now 3 a.m. The veil between world is thinnest. I think somebody is on the West Coast looking at East Coast time. I don't know. Vice versa. There we go. But there is no veil between worlds. It's not when you go to a cemetery, the veil's thinnest. It's not Halloween or Walpurgisnacht that the veil is the thinnest. You are the veil. You have the ability to tune in and communicate with spirits at any time, all the time. You always have had that ability. But when we are in our normal day-to-day world, driving our car, going to work, we need to be in the physical world. We are not tuned into the spiritual side, and that's okay. You know, we can't do a spreadsheet and communicate with a spirit at the same time. It uses two different parts of the brain, two different parts of everything going on. And what a seance is think of it as just a process to tune in. It's where we set energies, we set a safe setting, and that's one of the key rules here. I've got like a list of 10 rules for interacting with the paranormal. The biggest one is similarities attract and perpetuate. And so if you're worried and if you're scared about something negative or bad, well, it's a lot of the TV shows and movies will show that. But in a seance, we're setting it up so that it's sacred space, it's safe. And we're getting ourselves into a meditative state of mind. And however people do it, the different chants they say, sitting around the table, holding hands, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just a process so that you tune in. And once you're tuned in, the communications comes through and people have a connection and they realize that death is not the end of a person's existence.
And here I thought it was just about trying to communicate, bring everybody's energy together to move tables or tip tables or move chairs.
Those are forms of communication. Table tipping was really big, I would say, late 19th century to early 20th century, where a spirit would come through. People would put their hands on the table and they would ask the spirit to come through, and the table would tip, and it would basically tap a letter for the alphabet, like one tap for A, two taps for B. And so the table tipping was all about a form of communication. Moving chairs, all the other kind of stuff, it can happen. I've been doing this my entire life, and I've only seen something move without anyone near it one time. I've only seen ectoplasm one time. I used to think ectoplasm was nonsense. I used to think it wasn't anything real until I actually saw somebody producing ectoplasm, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, the table tipping and all that is just a form of communication.
Why would somebody take part in a seance? Is it like a human Ouija board?
Oh, Ouija boards are part of seance. Like when I do a seance, I will do a 2-hour session of seance. Part of it is me channeling a little bit because people like to see that. The rest of the seance, I'm helping people learn to tune in. Like they're learning how to use a pendulum. You'll learn how to use a Ouija board. I have Ouija boards. People sit down with it, use it right there. I'll teach people how to do automatic writing. And so those are physical tools of seance. The pendulum, the Ouija board, automatic writing. There are various different tools that you could bring in. I think of them more like toys to play with because I like to have fun at seance. But yeah, the seance is just a setting. I mean, the word seance itself means sitting. It's a French word that means sitting. And it's just a place where we just gather together and say, hey, let's open up and talk and, reconnect with loved ones.
What's the weirdest thing that ever happened to you with using a Ouija board?
Using a Ouija board, I usually don't use them. To me, they're slow and clunky. My wife is really good at it. They can really fly around with her and they work really well for me. They're slow, so I tend not to use them. I've only used them a few times, but I teach people how to use them and I see great success with some people. Some people, they just don't connect with it. But, one of the weirdest things I would say, and it's not that weird, but somebody was not a German speaker at all, but they started getting German words through the Ouija board. And they thought they were just getting nonsense. But I know a little bit of German. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. And I was able to go, oh, no, this is German coming through. How interesting is that?
No difference between a spirit board and a Ouija board.
Nah, Ouija board's just a trademark term.
Weirdest thing that ever happened to me was in 2013. We were in a session on a spirit board, and all communication was pushed to me through the board, saying that I was going to win the lottery in 9 weeks. And I played along. I said, okay, how much? And it was 43 million. I was like, okay. And I said, where do I buy my ticket? And it spelled out same place that I always did, which was the gas station that I filled up in. Okay. So I played along. And 43 million is a weird number in Canadian lottery because the numbers every time there's a draw usually only go up by 2, 5, or 10. 2 million, 5 million, or 10 million. So it's very hard to get to the number 43 through 2, 5, and 10. And all of a sudden, going into the week before, it was another carryover. Nobody had won. And going into exactly 9 weeks later or 6 weeks later, whatever it was, the lottery is $43 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I go that morning, I buy the ticket, I go to work, I totally forget about the ticket, totally forget about the draw. We go back to our friend's house that night, get on the spirit board, and the spirits come rushing through saying they wanted to talk with me. And they spelt out congratulations. So all of a sudden, congratulations. And my friend says, the lottery ticket, 43 million. I said, yeah, the draw was 43 million for tonight. And so I run out to my vehicle, grab my ticket, hop on the app that shows the lottery winning numbers, and I didn't have a single number.
Oh no.
And I tell you, I never, and I laugh about it now, but I was so angry at the spirits on the other side of that board that I said, what, is my life a joke to you that you think you could just play me for that? I said, I did everything that you asked me to do. And then you play me like that? I was so mad. Not a single number. And all it kept on spelling out was sorry. I still to this day do not know what that meaning was or why they did that to me. I think somewhere it was a spiritual practical joke.
That is one of the things that I love for people to know is on the other side of life, it is in some places a party. That doesn't mean you have the right to get out of here because things are difficult. That doesn't work that way. Things could still be difficult over there. But for a lot of people over there, and a lot of people, it's a party. It's a good time. And this is one of the more difficult things I've had to work with clients when they're going through challenging, difficult times in their life. And it's very serious to them. And it really is. And we really do need to take the difficult, challenging times in our life seriously. But when we are communicating with spirits, they exist outside of a time sense than we do. They don't have linear 3D time like we do. They exist in a completely different way of time. It's hard to explain it. And they have a very flippant attitude about dying. They have a very flippant attitude about the things that we achieve in this life, even our own higher self. It's just like, yeah, cool, isn't it? Right? And we're like, no, what do you mean? And so I kind of liken it to a roller coaster. You know, when you're going on a roller coaster, the car's kind of shaking and you're going up that really big hill and it's looking really scary. You're holding on tight. You're starting to question the decisions you made in your life that brought you to this place. You're like, I don't really want to do this. And finally you go over that crest of that hill and you're shooting all over the place. The car is shaking. You go around those curves, wondering if you're going to fly off, screaming for your life, going, no, what am I doing? Meanwhile, higher self is at the end of the ride, at the dock, at the platform, just going, yeah, man, this is a lot of fun. Can we do it again? And that's a lot of the way the spirits are over there. It's just like, yeah, so what did you gain from that? You saw that we could see 43 million. You saw that we could see the time going forward. But if you won that money, are you sure that would have been a good thing? So sorry. They do have kind of a really weird sense of humor and a very flippant attitude about the things that we take so seriously over here.
Oh, I get you there. It's a tough ruse when you're like, okay, I'll play along.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play along. I'm not saying give it faith because you have to be, I'm very strict with my faith. I just don't throw my faith around on just anything or everybody. But that was a tough lesson to learn in the spiritual world that I was absolutely played. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Look at all of those people who have won the lottery. They got the big numbers. They got the big amount of money coming in. Very few of them actually ended up in a very good place. Most of the people lost that money, ended up in worse debt, worse situations. They wish they had never won the lottery in the first place. So maybe somebody was watching out for you anyway, even though they have a weird ass sense of humor about it.
Could be. Could very much be. But enough about me. Let's get more to you because this is about you and we're talking about seances and communications and channeling. Is this something that people should do? Now, I believe everybody has the power to do it, but is this something that we should be looking into?
I really do think the answer to that is yes, because another one of my rules of interacting with the paranormal is the more you interact with the paranormal, the safer it gets. And it goes right back to that first rule, that similarities attract and perpetuate. You look at these kids on TikTok and making these videos that watch each other. They grab the Ouija board. They've seen the horror movies about the Ouija board. They've seen The Exorcist. They're scared to death. They're going to have a bad time with it. And they're going to record that bad time. It's going to go up. They're going to get clicks. They're going to get clout for it. They're like, that's great. Somebody else is going to see that video, get scared. They're going to look at it. They're going to have a bad time with it because they're perpetuating that fear. But when you do seance in the proper setting, when you learn how to set sacred space, when you learn how to set intention, when you learn how to call in the spirits, you're going to have a whole much better time. It's going to make for a boring TikTok video. It's going to make for a boring movie or TV show, but it's going to go so much better. And the more you do that, the more you engage with seance, the more that you're connecting with those spirits at that level, the more you realize, like, oh, this is just a natural part. This is what it means to be a living being. This is when the body's gone. This is what its life is like over there. What's so scary about it? And then you start to see it in the world around you. It's everywhere. And it's just like, oh, and now you're not afraid of it anymore. Now you see those kids having a bad time with a Ouija board on TikTok. And you're like, guys, come on, get your act together. It's not like that at all. You hear the pulpit pounder screaming, devil, 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 devil. And you're like, guys, no, come on. We're having too much fun with this. We're playing with these things. So I do say, yes, engage with seance, learn how to do it properly, get away from the fear-based narratives that are out there, get away from the clicks and the clout seekers that are just doing this to scare you, because that's not really what it's like.
When I first heard the term channeling, I thought it was taking a remote control and changing the channel. I didn't know it was allowing a spirit into your body and allowing it to use you as its communication device. As fun as it is, it can be dangerous, especially if you can't get the spirit out of your body, which thankfully has not happened to me. But talk about channeling a little bit and the reason why we do it.
Absolutely. And it comes in many, many different forms. The most common form of channeling, people don't even realize it is. They just get like a sudden harebrained idea. They just get the sudden, hey, let's go do this. Or, oh, I'm curious about this. You're driving your car. You're taking the same exact route that you always take to go to the store. But now you're suddenly going, no, I think I should turn early instead. I don't know why. That's a form of channeling. It's that subtle. It's that simple. And most people just blow it off as like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. I don't know where that came from. That's channeling. Channeling can even come in the form of automatic writing, where you're cooperating with the spirit. Ouija board, they're helping to move your hand. It's just a little bit of that. The real deep channelers are like trance channelers, where they go into a deep state of meditation. They set their identity aside. They set themselves aside, and the spirit comes through. Now, this is also a very beautiful practice for some spiritual traditions, like Voodoo. It's very beautiful, where they're dancing with the spirits. They're connecting with the spirits. And in truth, I know it's a big fear. What if the spirit doesn't want to leave? What if it doesn't want to go? The chances of that happening are so remote, because if you're in that proper set and setting, you're bringing in a certain spirit with intention, you know about that spirit, you are automatically setting a boundary. This is the time frame. This is the communication. That's it. Done. We're over. And they respect that. They really do respect that. That the spirits that come in to do that channeling, they leave. They're just there for that little brief moment of co-creative experience, and then they're gone. I would say it's a lot safer than a lot of people realize, because it just doesn't happen that they don't want to go.
Should we do it? Should we practice it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's really just a matter of listening to that quiet space in your mind. Just learning how to, when we have a thought come up, it's going to come up. Just acknowledge it, let it pass. A feeling comes up, acknowledge it, let it pass. And listen to that subtle whisper that's there. It's not necessarily going to be in words. It's not going to necessarily be a linear conversation like you and I are having, but it may just be a concept, an idea, some knowledge that you suddenly know out of nowhere. Absolutely. The more you do that, the better connected that you get, and you realize, like, yeah, this is it. You see, one of the things that the whispers, my guides have taught me over the years, is for most people, 90% of their thoughts or feelings are not even theirs. It's from the spirits around them. It's from parasitic entities. It's from the energy wells. Everything is energy. Everywhere is energy. It comes through these things. And the more that you start to learn to tune into that silence, the more that you start to be aware of, like, oh, this isn't my thought. Oh, this isn't my feeling. You start to reclaim your own mind, your own inner world. And that number really shifts dramatically from 90% not your own to a vast majority of it. We'll never be 100%. You don't want to be 100%. But people are channeling all the time, whether they realize it or not. And so the more that you actively, consciously, willfully engage in it, the more you are actually taking back your own consciousness, your own mind, your own energy, so that you have that firm control over it.
What if you're doing it on a ruse? Because a lot of people who are going into this don't know how to control. They don't know how to understand or play with spirits or anything like that.
I'm curious, going in on a ruse, what do you mean?
Well, a ruse into the fact that, they're going to be, especially with younger kids where they're, and I say teenagers here, who will be kind of like, I don't want to say making a mockery of it all, but using it as more of a game than as a spiritual guideline.
Oh, that's a good question. Because up until The Exorcist, the Ouija board was nothing more than a game. People would show up at bars, pubs, they would go to each other's houses and break out the spirit board and just play with it and have fun with it. And I would say, if you're going to treat it like a game, if it's like a toy and you're going to have fun with it, and you're going to play with it, you're going to have a good time with it. And I would say definitely treat it like a toy, treat it like a game and play with it, because that's setting up that good, positive, powerful, wonderful energy that you're just going to connect with something similar to that energy. But if you're going to follow what you're seeing in The Exorcist, or you're going to see in the horror shows, and then you're going to have a scary bad time with it. So I would definitely say play with it, treat it like a toy, and have fun, because that's how it was used for a lot longer than what we're using it for now, and people being afraid of it.
3 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Kaedrich Olsen is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Is there a type of communication with spirit that we should be weary of?
Yeah, if you're ever in a fearful state, if you feel something fearful, if you feel something not right, or if something says there are consequences, you got to do this now, you have to do this now. If you don't, these things will happen, those things will happen. Urgency. If they have that sense of urgency, don't communicate with it. Trust your feelings, trust your emotions. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
What about people who use it, like I said, as a game, but they're wanting to talk to Beelzebub himself, the devil himself, or some sort of demonic heathen?
Yeah, those are the people watching those crazy videos and TV shows, and stay away from that. Don't do that. That's just, it's just weird.
Okay. But how do you then tell the difference between trying to channel the spirit of your grandma or your favorite aunt or uncle, or maybe your mom, dad, or whoever, and not knowing whether or not it's a trickster spirit on the other end? How do you know the difference?
The thing that I would recommend you do is laugh. Have a genuine, honest laugh. Because laughter is an energy. It puts out every emotion you feel is an energy. It puts it out there. And if it is something negative, if it's something tricksy, if it's something that's not good, that laughter energy will repel it. It'll go away. It doesn't want that from you. It wants the fear. It wants the control. And if you're laughing and having a good time with it, and it's grandma, she's going to come in and laugh and have a good time with you.
I never thought about it that way. I really didn't.
Yep,
what do you prefer more, the channeling aspect through maybe your own telepathy, or do you prefer using a tool like a spirit board or tarot cards or pendulums?
For me, it's that claircognizance. It's just kind of like that telepathic connection. It's nonlinear. And we need to sometimes learn to put the training wheels on and use the tarot cards, use the pendulums, use the Ouija board to get to that place. Because when people are using the Ouija board or the pendulum, they'll start to realize they're getting the answer before the planchette or before the pendulum does. And then they start to tune into that more, and they're like, oh, this is what it's like, really. So, yeah, internal first.
I love it. I love it. And I think that you have to get a real taste for what works for you. Because
Exactly.
there are certain things that will not work. It's like, a deck of tarot cards. I could go to a store, look at tarot cards, and 99% of the decks are like, nope, that's not for me. That's not for me. But then that one just keeps standing out, and it's like talking to you through the box, and you're like, well, maybe we'll just dabble in this a little bit. and that's just the way it goes. Kendrick, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. It's hard to believe we're already through 1 hour here on Spaced Out Radio. Our guest tonight, Kaedrich Olsen. His website, Kaedrich, Kaedrich.com. Kaedrich.com. Make sure you check it on out. Hour 2 is next. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Kaedrich, we got about 5.5 minutes. I'm going to put you back in the green room, and we'll be right back, okay?
Sounds good, man.
All right. This is awesome, brother. Awesome.
Loving it too.
All right. Undead Jed and Blue Cruise, nice to see you. We'll be right back, guys. Hi, Sarion. right. I am back. We got just over a minute to go here.
Great.
Let's bring Kaedrich back in. And let's see. Did I miss anybody here? No, I am not using a Ouija board tonight. I did not say that. I don't own one. Don't own one. That's Merle. Maybe Merle and I should do that one night
Ah.
in the show. What the hell? Let's go for it.
Could be lots of fun.
Lots of great questions from our audience, what we're going to get in a little bit here. All right, Kaedrich, we got about 35 seconds. I want to say a big thank you tonight to CS, Pam, and Kitty Caddywhack for the wonderful super chats. I really appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Don't forget, YouTube listeners, you can join our membership on our YouTube channel. It really helps us out on a nightly basis. And, of course, you could shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. Oob to Joe's Main, you've got ghosts. Yes, you do. And you got aliens, too. Here we go, everybody. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is kicking off right now. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to bring Kaedrich Olsen back in here momentarily because it's a fun show with him tonight. Hey, we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nebel. Nebel is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Kaedrich Olsen is our guest tonight. He has been teaching people about the paranormal for more than 3 decades. This man is very well versed in everything spiritual and paranormal, and we're going to find out more about it right now. His website, kaedrich.com. That's KAEDRICH.com. Kaedrich, thank you so much for being here. We greatly appreciate you joining us.
You're very welcome. I'm very glad to be here. This is great stuff.
Dark forces. This is something that intrigues everybody, but scares the daylights out of everyone as well. What are dark forces?
They are the not so nice side of the paranormal. Let's put it that way. They are the shadow energies, the negative energies, the entities that feed off of them and influence us to feel those ways. And sometimes they could even be people or other kind of entities that have been kind of distorted by all of that. They're a very real part of the human experience as well.
How do we know when we're around them?
You feel uncomfortable. A very, very common thing is you're by yourself, you're alone. There's that creepy, spooky feeling that comes over you that you just can't explain. Where's it coming from? These are what I call thought forms. Other people call them thought forms too, but they're thought forms, which are just little bundles of energy programmed with, let's say, fear energy, a simple program of scare me, and you'll just suddenly feel that fear out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever, because that fear is also an energy that you're putting out, and this thing is getting you to feel that fear so it could feed and live basically on its terms because it's getting that energy from you. That's one of the most common ways. It's just that weird feeling that you just can't explain that comes out of nowhere.
I think we've all felt that way before, but we kind of pass it off as just, oh, there's something, something about it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Internally, wouldn't that be your own spiritual self giving you a forewarning?
Sometimes that's exactly. Yep. Sometimes that's exactly it. Like when you're talking to that person that you've never met before, maybe you have met them and you're feeling that pit in your stomach growing, or you're feeling like a cramp in your stomach, you're feeling like, oh no, that's definitely your intuition saying, watch out, be careful. So that is absolutely an aspect of it. And I tell people that the primary form of spirit communication is emotion, but we can also override that with our own emotion. Maybe it's grandma coming by to say hi, and you're getting that creep out feeling because your vibes are tingling, like, ooh, there's a spirit in the room, but you're going into the fear base yourself. So it gets a little tricky, that level of discernment. Is it me generating this, or is it something causing me to feel this?
How do we, as laymen, know the difference?
Test it. You just really, you can't. It takes some practice, it takes some experience, but like I was saying earlier, something comes up, have a good laugh at it. So let's say you're home alone, whatever, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you get that creep out feeling, you get freaked out by it, you don't know where it's coming from. Have a good laugh, a genuine laugh, where your eyes crinkle. And if you have to fake laugh to real laugh, do it. Find some video or something funny to make you laugh. And if this thing persists, laugh even more, because you need to push this thing away if it's a negative entity. But if it's just you and you're laughing and have a good time and you still get that vibe and there's still something there, you misinterpreted it. It's a good time to connect and say, hey, who are you? Why are you here? What's up?
A lot of times over the years of doing this show and talking to people outside of it, there are always those people out there who've said to me, Dave, I keep feeling like I got this big black cloud over top of me, that nothing ever goes right, that I can get to the door of success. I can open the door. I've been invited in the door. The minute I go step in that door, the door slams in my face. What am I doing to cause that? Why does this keep happening to me? There's a lot of people out there where every day is a dark day, my friend.
Absolutely. This is why shadow work is so important, because a good possibility of that's not the entirety of possibility, but a good possibility of that moment of potential success, or through the doorway, let's go, everything falls apart, is there something inside self-sabotaging. There's something inside saying, I'm not worthy of this, I don't deserve it, I'm not the right person to get it. Mom and dad said I would never amount to anything, and they're right. Look, I'm just proving them right. So they're bringing that down on themselves. And again, shadow is an energy. Every emotion is an energy. And we're putting that shadow energy out in the world around us. We don't think that we're worthy. We don't think we're capable. We don't see what's the point of this. I can't be the one doing it. And that energy goes out and it starts drawing people and situations and circumstances to us. And we're literally manifesting it from our own shadow energy. But when we do that shadow work, we go inside and we're like, well, where is this coming from? Where's this self-sabotage happening? Why is it there? And we really understand it. We understand the origin of it. And we have to remember that shadow is there in the first place because it helped us at one point in our life. It was actually something beneficial to us. That's why we agreed to have it. That's why we created it. But now it's getting in the way. And when we go and find out what that shadow's real purpose is, we can undistort it, realign it back to what its original purpose is. Maybe it's protect me. Maybe it's make sure I'm living the right life. Maybe it's making sure I'm a good person. And we undistort that, we bring it back in. And now you get to that doorway, you get to that threshold, you step through, and it's like, oh yeah, this is where it's been. This is why I've been missing it, because we're doing it for ourselves. We are a powerful manifester, even for the negative things in our life.
Do we even know that we're manifesting?
No, it goes right back to that thing where we've been shut down by our societies and our culture. We're taught that this is just, crap happens. Well, crap does happen. Things can happen all the time, but most people don't even know that they have that control. They just think this is life sucks. You're born, you pay taxes, you die. That's it. It doesn't have to be that way.
I learned a long time ago, after not listening to that little voice inside my soul, I call it the soul voice, that, I almost got killed one day. Okay. And I think we've all had that near-death experience where it's like, holy cow, another inch either way, and I'm a dead person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that happened to me one day on my ATV. And the whole time I was going up there to ride, I kept hearing that little voice inside of me. Today's not a good day to ride. Turn around, go home. Today is not a good day to ride. And I just, we'd come through a long winter, and I was like, man, I just want to get outside and ride my ATV. And like 10 minutes into our ride, I had this really bad accident. I was not hurt. My ATV was destroyed rolling down a hill about 250 feet. Okay. And it was scary. It was very scary. But it made me look at things a lot differently. And I'm sure other people will understand where this is leading when I say this. All of a sudden, it started making me realize little things like I would drive my daughter to school, and all of a sudden she would say, Dad, I forgot my lunch. Can we go back? You go back and get that lunch. What did that save you from? Did it save you from an accident? Did it save you from something else? I started trying to look at the other side of why all of a sudden these things that absolutely set us off 0 to 60 in a split second, all of a sudden trying to look at them the other way, stating maybe there was a reason why that happened. Do we pay attention to that enough?
We need to. This is why people say all the time, I've never had a paranormal experience. I wish I could. I've never had one in my entire life, because I expect a paranormal experience to be a book flying across the room, somebody pounding on the wall, the disembodied voice yelling, get out, something floating. They expect it to be that. A very real paranormal experience I had, very similar to yours. I was driving late at night one time. It came to a red light. I came to a stop. I watched the light turn green. I'm still sitting there watching the light green. I'm like, why am I sitting here at a green light? Why am I not going? And I'm still sitting there going, why am I not going? Meanwhile, a car blazes through the intersection that would have just creamed and totaled my car. That's what most paranormal experiences are like. They're that subtle, that little voice that says, no, today's not a good day to go riding on my ATV. No, why? You just sit here. Don't go in that green light. It's that subtle. And the more that we start paying attention to that, going, oh, great, I'm glad I went back for my kid's lunch. Oh, great, I'm glad I did this. Even today it happened. I knew you were going to give me a call, and I put my phone on. I thought I turned it up so I could hear the ringer. It didn't happen. And I'm like, I got this nagging feeling. I better check my phone. What's going on? As soon as I picked up my phone, I saw it was ringing, but it wasn't buzzing or making any sound. But that moment that somebody said, hey, pick up your phone, look at it. Those are paranormal experiences. That's what they're really like.
So it's not all about ghosts, ghouls, and goblins. It's about just living reality.
Exactly. If we were to make a movie or a TV show about real paranormal experiences, nobody would ever watch it. They're boring.
Many of us don't look at it that way.
Exactly. That's the training that we have in our culture, in our society. Most people, their experience with the paranormal is what they saw in a paranormal investigator TV show, what they've seen in a horror movie, or what a pulpit pounder has screamed at them is evil, and they expect a paranormal experience to look like that, and they're blocking out everything else.
So where do the spirits and ghosts come into play?
They're around us all the time, everywhere. We just have to tune in. We just have to be aware of it. They're just here, just like we are.
Where are they?
That's a great question. Where the best way for me to answer that, and I promise I'm not being cynical when I say this, is where are you? Where am I? Because we are also spiritual beings. We have this new agey saying that's out there that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. It's not true.
Mm-hmm.
We are spiritual and physical beings having a dynamic experience. So you are a spirit. You are right now. So there's one right here, right now. But the spirit world, I don't know how to describe it. It is much more vast than our physical world. It extends, I don't know how to explain it. It's like another reality. It goes out way further than what's here, but it is also here. There's spirits in the room around us all the time. There's energy with us all the time. So they're everywhere. Everywhere there's like air to breathe, they're there. Everywhere we are, it literally is a completely natural part of our world.
Are ghosts and spirits real, or are we intercepting them in a collision of different dimensions?
Great question. That means they're still real if we're intercepting them. Yes. I'm going to answer that in a couple of different ways. Is just as we are a spirit, they're all around us, they're very real, and they do exist. I like the word density. Density is another word that we can use. Like the third density is our physical world. It's not so easily quantifiable. Fourth density is kind of like the etheric playground, like a sandbox that we create things in, like thought forms. Fifth density and higher are kind of more like the spiritual realms. But don't think of them as quantified realities, and we are already connected with them. It's just multidimensional is the right word for that, because we're not just moving in 3 dimensions, we're moving in another dimension, so we can access these layers of density. We can move like that. But I do think that there are also intersecting realities with our own. For example, shadow people. I grew up in a neighborhood full of shadow people, even people who didn't, like, I had friends that would show up that did not believe in the spirit world. They're like, every time I come to your house, out of the corner of my eye, I swear, I see somebody standing on the sidewalk or out walking through the street, but then I go to look at them, they're gone. But it was more like a shadow of a person than an actual person. I am not fully convinced that those are spirits or people. I think that is a cross-dimensional thing. They're I don't know that they're humans in a parallel universe or not, but they might be their own being that exists in a different type of reality that partially intersects with our own, and that we occasionally get glimpses of each other, and they get glimpses of us, and I think they're just as curious about us as we are of them, and they're probably somebody in the spirit person dimension going, hey, I saw these people and they're talking about it on a radio show over there too.
How often do you think we as humans are actually running into spirits that would be fully manifested? Like, I'm walking down the street and here comes Kaedrich, the angel, walking by me or saying hello to me or whatever it may be. How often do you think that happens?
I don't think it happens that often. It is rare, but it happens. People will see full body apparitions. There are quite a few times I've seen apparitions, and they still kind of startle me. When I'm just hanging out in the room, or if I'm doing some spiritual work and I'll see an apparition go, I'm like, wow, they're still a bit startling to me. It happens, but I don't think it's that often. It takes a lot of energy or a lot of us tuning into that deeper level, and it happens, but not that often.
Do you think when those, let's say, I'm going to use the term angels here because I'm not a big demon guy.
Yeah.
You think if we're walking down the sidewalk and all of a sudden you get that, what looks to be a regular person stopping by, but you pick up on their energy and you're like, that person is just different. That person there's something about that person. Do you ever figure that maybe that they were there just to hold you for that brief second?
That's a fair question. I've never thought about that before, but yeah, I think people will have encounters with people like that just for that moment with, this is going to sound weird, but a little bit of a poke came in. It's not so much as holding you there for some reason, but it's more about being in their presence. So because these higher level beings have this high energy around them, and that when you are in their presence, it does a little bit of healing, it does a little bit of clearing, it does a little bit of raising up your vibe. And so whoever popped in for a second said, when we do that, it's more to kind of bump up your energy, to do some cleansing for your energy. So it's more of an energetic presence than anything.
That energetic presence, is it just a natural recognition of when it happens?
That's a good question. That energetic I think it's undeniable. When you come face to face with something like that, I don't think you can deny it. It's awe-inspiring. It's just like, oh. A great place to actually kind of sort of experience that, if you ever get a chance to go to Las Vegas and just hang out on the strip and people watch, you'll notice some people that are just kind of out of place, that just don't look the same. They're almost passable, 90, 95% human, but the way they carry themselves, the way they look, something is just a little bit off, and there'll be like a group of them, 2 or 3 or more, that all look different in the same way, but you get that vibe, you get that energetic presence about it, and it's you'll miss it if you're following the normal hustle and bustle of Las Vegas traffic and Las Vegas foot traffic, and you get caught up in all the lights. But if you take that moment to pause and really look around, you'll spot it because they're there.
I do it every year, my man.
Nice.
Every year. We'll be doing it again. We got 4 minutes to go before we got to go to break. Let's start off with a question from Creepypasta here. How can I start working on my own abilities as far as using them and strengthening them?
Starting to recognize it. Those moments where you got an insight that you didn't know how you could have gotten that insight, a bit of moment of that clarity, that nudge in a direction to do something. Recognize it, acknowledge it, act on it, and it will start happening more. It's that believing, seeing dynamic. Also, finding that quiet place in your own mind, listening to that quietness. I know it can be difficult with the much noises we got going in our head, the many thoughts and emotions that pop up, but the more you can get to that central place, the more you'll start to be more aware of that, and it'll start building up. Plus, one of the best ways to start working and strengthening your abilities is go to séance. Just being in that environment, being in that kind of a room will open your senses up, and they'll be more open for a day or two after you do séance, and just continue to acknowledge that as it keeps popping up. So there are a lot of different ways. You can take courses, you can take classes, you can take, there are techniques to develop your psychic abilities and keep using them. Absolutely. But the more you do it, the more you have of it.
I love that answer. Great answer. Kaedrich Olsen is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Let's go to Polly over in Israel. How do you understand the shadow people? Are they ghosts, people from the future, aliens?
I love that question because my answer is I don't know. I've been around them for my whole life. I've seen them around. I've tried to communicate with them, but they don't communicate in a way that we can understand each other. I honestly don't know what they are, but I wish I had a better understanding of it. They don't seem malevolent or harmful. They just seem more curious or apathetic, just like people would be. I don't know. I wish I did.
A lot of people call them the Watchers because that's what they're doing. They're just watching.
That's a good point. That might be exactly it.
See if we can sneak in a couple more here. Let's go to 56 Bel Air. Have you ever had to deal with a hitchhiker effect?
It's a new term for me, hitchhiker effect. I'm not sure what that is. If that's like a spirit attachment or such. Yes, absolutely. I work with clients all the time to work with spirit release and letting go of spiritual attachment. It happens as part of natural part of our existence. And that's part of the work we have to do to help get rid of that so that they're not influencing us in unwanted ways.
What's the worst case of attachment you've had?
Almost destroyed a family. The guy was constantly fighting, arguing with his wife. There was absolutely no romance. It was just tearing his life all apart. And it came from a spirit that was attached to him that had a difficult time with family, that had a difficult time growing up, that bore a lot of resentment, and that spirit attached to him is like, well, I'm not going to let this family stand. And so it almost completely destroyed that family. We got that spirit cleared. We sent it back, and the guy and his family, they were able to recreate those bonds. They were to heal together again once we got rid of that thing.
Was it a possession?
That's a term that some people use for it. Sure, we can use that term, but it tends to have the misnomers because of the movies. I'd rather say attachment, an influence, rather than possession, because there's some weird connotations that come to that word from the movies, but it's valid.
We're going to get to more audience questions after the break here. As Kaedrich Olsen, we have him until the top of the hour on Spaced Out Radio. His website, kaedrich.com. Make sure you check it on out. This is Spaced Out Radio, and I'm going to tell you, we have a lot of really good questions from our audience coming up. I'm reading some of these, and I'm like, man, how did I not think of that one? You know, as a host, the best part is when you don't take callers, but you take questions from a live audience on a place like YouTube or social media, it's easy to get those questions better, and they're great. We'll bring them back right after this. listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. All right, my man.
All right.
That's good stuff. This has been fantastic. I'm going to tell you right now, anytime you want to come on this show, you let me know.
You bet.
I hope we're doing you justice here.
I'm enjoying this, so absolutely, I will definitely take you up on that. Thank you.
Wolfgang Storm Rider, welcome to SOR chat. Who else is here? Let's see. Last year, I had the pleasure of having to deal with the first ever possession that I saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
how did that go?
It was interesting, and it was weird because I used to do a ghost tour at our local museum, and I took our people into the room and I looked in the room, but I had usually I could pick up on things, but I had my back to this one area where while I was saying, okay, people go this way, but I had my back to that area, and then I turned and he snuck right around me to possess this lady. And watching her face morph into somebody different and her voice change and her body cringe up with her fingers all like this and everything. I remember when I started, I'm like, okay, let's like, her name was Jamie. I'm like, I need to speak with Jamie here. And then Jamie would come forward, and then immediately she would like scrunch her face up and look back down. She wouldn't look at me. And it got to the point where right before she started dragging me across the floor, which was pretty awesome. I actually got a little scared because I had never dealt with it before, a possession like that before. I've dealt with spirits, but I've never dealt with a full-on possession. And I was kind of like, okay, how do I do this? Like, do we need to call a priest? Do we need to call somebody? Well, if we call a priest, that's probably going to be the end of the ghost tour forever. And all of a sudden I had this power of strength in me that's just like, okay, you're going to do this. You know how to do this, and you're not going to take shit from this ghost. And that's what I did. Right. And like I had a friend of mine rubbing a blessed cross on her back and everything. And finally, what I was able to do, and a lot of people won't agree with this, but it works for me because I know people who could clear me, was I took him inside of me to get it out of her. And then it was like, okay, I got this guy, and I walked away. I was feeling great. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's in me. He is totally in me. And it was like, I don't feel good. And so I had to get some people to work on me to get it cleared. But it was a cool experience to watch, though, man.
And that's one of your most powerful tools. And this is what I teach. I've got like a paranormal investigator safety course. And what I teach them is that sense of awe and wonder is one of your most powerful tools. Like, oh, wow, look, you did that. How cool is that? Yeah, do it some more. That's really great. Because that moves you into that higher state of being, that higher energy. And they just don't like that. They go away. They're like, I'm not going to do that again. Ugh.
Lisa, I can film anytime at the museum. I just try not to take advantage of it, but we're working on some things privately for my business. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got about 40 seconds here. Seeing if I missed anybody. Mr. Cowley, welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley loves his spaced out radio. Thank you tonight to T-Bone, my man, CS, Pam, and Kitty for the great super chats. Appreciate your love and support. Remember, our store is always open, spacedoutradio.com. Go check it on out. Why? Because we do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So check it out. Here we go. We're now into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We're hanging on out with all of you and our great guest, Kaedrich Olsen. We're talking paranormal and taking audience questions as we go. Hey, but first, we want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Kaedrich Olsen is our guest. We have until the top of the hour. Kaedrich.com is his website. That's Kaedrich.com. Kaedrich, thank you so much for being here.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. This is a great time. I love this conversations we're having.
Well, let's get to more audience questions. Okay.
Sounds great.
It's from Polly. What do you never do while dealing with dark forces?
Get scared, because that's what they want. They want scare. They want control. They want you to be angry. They want all of those negative emotions because it's what feeds them. It's what perpetuates their existence. And if you can have a good time, if you can laugh, genuinely laugh, have fun with it, if you can move to a sense of awe and wonder. I was just mentioning this, that I've got a course for paranormal investigators, like a safety training course. And let's say they're in a place where they start to see an apparition form. It's this black energy. It's very dark energy. It's giving them like the creep out feeling. I tell them to go, ooh, wow, that is so cool. That is awesome. Can you do that some more? Can you get bigger? Or something goes flying, like, yeah, do that again. Because you're moving into that sense of awe and wonder, which is a higher state of energy, a higher level of vibration. I don't really like that word vibration, but I don't know what else word to use. And you're moving into that higher state, and it's going to push that thing away. It's going to create like a barrier protecting you. So never do is get scared. What I do recommend is laugh, have a good time with it, play with it, because it'll push those things away. It'll repel them. It's literally poison to them.
I love that answer. All right, let's go to in the studio. Would you believe shadow people could be watching us ourselves on a TV screen, looking at our past history or mistakes? Because something happened to me a few times, and I heard something call me.
You know, I'm not sure that it would be shadow people doing that, but it would be guides. It would be teachers, higher being. And I like that you're using that kind of an analogy, like a TV screen. The past, present, future, they have access to all of that because they don't exist in linear time like we do in the physical world. Like I said, I wouldn't say it's shadow people, but I will say it's more the higher level entities that are there and aware of it. Shadow people, I still don't know what they are, but it could be possible that they're doing that. I just don't know.
Let's move on to another question here. Let's go next to the unknown. How do you know the difference between your own imagination and an actual spirit communication?
Great question. That comes up a lot as I'm teaching people how to become more aware and to connect and to know that connection. And it is a very tricky thing because they are very similar. The reason being is our cognition, our neocortex and our prefrontal cortex are so used to running the show all of the time, and it wants information linear, it wants it logical, it has to be reasonable. 1 + 1 always has to equal 2. You've got to have an answer for this. And we're so used to being in our head that we're ignoring our intuition. And our intuition tends to come in through the gut, the visceral nervous system, and it is very abstract. It's very nonlinear. You'll get concepts without context. And how do we make sense out of that? Well, when the neocortex intercepts that information, it immediately goes, blah, it's nonsense, it's not there. And it has to pass through the reticular activating system in the back of the brain, which is kind of like a valve. Do I have a pattern? Am I familiar with this? Nope. Put it in the subconscious, ignore it. Oh, I do have a pattern, I am familiar with it, let it into the conscious. And in order for that to happen, it's got to pass through what I call the interpretation filter that's already built with patterns, things that you're already familiar with. And so you're receiving this intuitive information in, it has to pass through the interpretation filter, and it very much feels like imagination. It very much feels like you're talking to yourself. And sometimes we do make it up. Sometimes we are starting to imagine it and we're going with it. But as you practice, as you keep communicating more, you'll start to notice what it feels like when you receive intuitive information. It feels different. Maybe it comes in a different part of the brain. Maybe you feel it in the gut. Maybe there's a different way that information feels. And you learn that discernment. You start to discern, oh, no, this is me imagining things. This is me making stuff up. No, this is me interpreting intuitive information. It takes some practice. It takes some skill. But the more you do it, the better at it you get. It's not instant, because it will seem like you're talking to yourself or just making stuff up at first, until you start to learn to discern how that information's coming in.
Moving on, let's go to another question. Let's go to Joe here. How do we know if dark forces are controlling a person that's driving on the freeway next to us?
You don't. You don't even know if dark forces are controlling the person walking next to you or whatnot. There's just no way to know at that level. Even for me, I just don't know.
You really can't control it because it's not your destiny to control it.
Right. And it's so much around us one way or another that how do you know when you go to the park there isn't going to be somebody just walks up to you and does something like smacks you or yells at you or says something awful? It could happen. It's just part of being alive.
T-Bone is asking, where do the aliens fit in?
Fair question. That could be a lot of different ways. Maybe some of these spiritual beings are of extraterrestrial origin. Maybe they never had a physical body. You see, when I sit with clients, I will bring in my guides, the whisperers, and I will ask for their guides to be present. And I started noticing blue people showing up quite a bit with people. Their guides would show up and there would be a tall blue person there. And I'm like, what's going on? It's happening so many times. Turns out that was like an extraterrestrial coming in. One of their guides was ET. And then I started noticing that in their bodies too. And I'm like, oh, okay. And if we follow what a lot of the experience have told us, these beings are a more advanced spiritual level anyway. So they're already communicating. They already know that we're coexisting with these spiritual beings all the time. I think if they're a physical being, they're just like us, not necessarily just like us, but they are spiritual beings as well. And I think that they would be more spiritually advanced, more spiritually connected, and they are part of all of that. Some of that's conjecture, I have to put it there. I haven't had, that I know of, face-to-face interaction with an extraterrestrial being, but spiritual communication, spiritual contact, absolutely.
Is that your personal opinion or what guides have told you?
That's personal opinion, what guides have told me, what I've seen coming up with working with clients. So some of it's direct experience, some of it is me trying to understand it and putting conjecture to it. It's an amalgam of all of it.
Carrie is asking, what is your opinion then on heaven or hell?
Fair question. I've actually seen hell. I've been to hell, but not from a...
Hold on. Whoa. Time out here. You got to tell us this story.
Yep. Like Emanuel Swedenborg, great, he wrote some really great books. He had an angel, what we would call a spirit guide today, take him on different adventures into the afterlife and showed him different places in the afterworld. I had the same kind of experience. My guides will take me to different places. There's schools there. There are different realms or different places. I had a lady that needed a spirit cleared out of her home, and it turned out he was a biker So we opened a portal to like a biker realm full of people fighting and arguing and having a raucous time. And she's like, that sounds like hell. And I'm like, well, for you, that would be. But for him, that's heaven, because he's looking for a place like that. But the place that they took me to, it was just a bunch of people standing around, like dead look in their eye. They're just like spaced out. And they're kind of tethered in place so that they don't wander off, they don't get lost. And there are other people around them kind of watching them, taking care of them. And I asked my guide, what is this place? What's going on? And he said, this is hell. And what's happening is these people believed while they were alive that they were bad people, that they were sinners, that whatever reason, that when they died, they deserved to go to a place of torment and torture. So they're creating that for themselves. And these people that are around them, watching them, wait for a little glimmer, wait for a little bit of a wake up where they start wondering, does it always have to be like that? And they're just like, no, it doesn't. What else could it be? And then they sink back in. But when they keep popping up, when they ask those questions, what else is there? Like, yeah, do you want to find out? I can help you. And so these people are eventually brought out of their own personal hell and go through the healing process, go through the awakening process, the whole afterlife transition process, where before they were resisting it because they full on believed when they get to the other side that it's flat out hell and that's what they deserve and that's all they get, but they create it for themselves. The heaven part is everywhere. Now, to better answer this question, there is a great, I can't say it exactly, but basically we create it here on our world. Sometimes our world is hell, sometimes it's a heaven. And it really just comes down to how we see it, how we interpret it. It's no different on the other side. If you think it's going to be a place of torment and horror, you'll create it for yourself. If you think it's this place of wonder and beauty and delight, which the vast majority of people do, they're having a great time over there.
I love that. Love it. Jules is asking, what are your thought form, or what are thought form larva tulpas?
Our thought forms larva tulpas, they can be. Because we are all creating thought forms, whether we realize it or not. Whenever we have like a persistent emotional state, we're putting out that energy, we're creating thought forms, and they're going to influence us to think that way. And if we focus so much on that, let's say it's anger, we're focusing so much anger, and it can take on a form of its own. It can get creative. Because we're programming it, we're giving it that energy, we're giving it those thoughts. It can get creative, and it becomes almost a sovereign entity of itself, which is what a tulpa is. It's a sovereign entity that we created, and it tends to have a life purpose because we gave it a life purpose. So we can evolve a thought form into a tulpa, and it is possible for multiple thought forms to come together, to conglomerate and share their thought, share their ideas together, and get more complex of a mind, get more complex of a being, and it could move into a tulpa state. So yeah, thought forms can absolutely become like a larva tulpa. It's a good question.
It's a very good question. All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to Warden Dragon. I have a question, Shadows of 10. I know I'm not alone, and I see dark always. Till 4 months back, I saw a white orb, 25-cent piece size, come through the wall and over my shoulder. It flew up over it. What do you think this is?
Orbs, spirit beings like that all the time. Sometimes when I go outside, they're just like zipping all over the place. They could be thought forms. They could be energy beings. You know, there are very interesting videos of people who have died, and there's like an orb coming out of their body. It definitely sounds like some sort of a spiritual being, but they come in all sorts of flavors and shapes and sizes. Now, if it's white, you know, white tends to be something that we interpret at that level of the spiritual, that it's a higher level being, that it's a very spiritual presence. And it's like those really dark forms that not always, and I have to be careful here, not always are dark forms malevolent or negative. Sometimes they're not. They come from a different form of reality than we're used to. But pay attention to the color. Like if it's a white orb, yeah, you're in good company.
What are the blue orbs?
Blue tends to be more mental, more thought, you know, like soda light. is blue. It tends to be more of that mental thought communication level. So they may be something there to help facilitate communication, give you clarity of mind, clarity of understanding. So blue tends to be more in that area.
Perfect. Let's go to another question here. Let's go over to T-Bone again. What is your opinion of the astral plane?
Yep, that's a very good question. That goes back to what I was talking about, densities. Densities is the new term, third density, physical world, fifth density, the spiritual world. And right in the middle is that ethereal layer that some people call the fourth density. That astral plane is kind of like that fifth density, that spiritual realm. And so when we get out of our body and we're having an out-of-body experience and we're moving through the astral plane, we're moving more in that fifth density, that higher level state of existence that's beyond the sandbox.
Polly would like to know, does a state of mind like depression make you an easier target for evil spirits or entities?
Thank you for asking that. And that's another reason why shadow work and really doing our inner work is so important, because remember, similarities attract and perpetuate. Whenever we get kind of caught in a perpetual state of mind, a perpetual state of being, we're putting out that energy. There are entities that are going to feed off of that. They're going to love it. That means we're a bit more open, a bit more vulnerable. Now, I know that there are biochemical things that need to be taken care of. Please take care of those. I will always recommend seeing a doctor and doing your shadow work, but definitely be doing both, the shadow work, the inner work, seeing the doctor, making sure everything is okay, so that you can get onto that level, solid ground. Because yes, when we get into some of those perpetual states of being, it does make us a bit vulnerable to that negative interactions that we really don't want.
I know that. That's personal, that one. Let's go to Stargazer. What if you try to open a door if you're unexperienced and you can't close it?
That's a good question. We have to remember that there is no veil between the worlds. We are the veil between worlds. And this is part of even my paranormal investigator training. It's what I call don't think of an elephant. Because when we open a door and we look back at it, and we look back at it, we look back at it, we're keeping it open. We're staying connected to it. But if you don't think of an elephant, and it's impossible. I tell you to don't not think of an elephant, you're going to think of an elephant. But remember, the brain can only hold 3 to 5 processes at one time. And if one of those processes is, look at the door, the door, then it's going to keep doing that. So what you do is you do a mindfulness practice of what's in the room, where am I? You let your brain and your thoughts get overloaded with something else. And if it wants to go back to the door, cool, I'm thinking about the door, and I want to think about this instead. And so you keep your mind overloaded. It's going to take some practice. It doesn't happen the first time, but it takes some practice that you build that training in your mental state of mind to learn how to tune out the things that you don't want to connect with. And eventually that door will close because you're not giving it any energy. You're not giving it any attention because you're putting your energy and attention elsewhere. Like I said, it's going to take some practice. Practice it before you need it. Practice overloading your mind with so many other things going on at once that you forget what you wanted to forget about. A great way to practice this is when you get an earworm, when you get a song stuck in your head. Acknowledge the song, it's there, and now start doing these other things. Overload your brain with everything else but that song, and when that song creeps back in, acknowledge it, cool, there it is, and then do something else, and eventually you'll forget that song. It'll move away, and it's the same way with that doorway.
The Unknown is asking, can you give us a quick lesson on how to do spirit writing?
Oh, absolutely. I love doing this. What you want to do is take a moment just to kind of settle in, relax, maybe connect to your sense of the sacred, feel it, let it be something that flows through you, around you, think happy thoughts, be in a happy state of mind, and then think about somebody that you want to connect with. I'm just going to use grandma as a general example. Think about the time when you spent baking cookies with grandma, what it felt like to be around grandma when you were baking cookies, when you sat down and watched a TV show together, how good and comfortable it made you feel. And remember what it felt like to be there with grandma. And just tune into that feeling and breathe into that feeling. And then grab a piece of paper and pencil and then either start writing nonsense, roses are red, violets are blue, this is so silly, I don't know what to do, and just let your hands start writing. or start asking questions you already know the answer to. Grandma, what was your favorite food? Write down the answer. What's your favorite color, Grandma? Write down the answer. But then just keep writing. Just let your hand write whatever comes out. Don't worry about punctuation, grammar, spelling. Just write. Worry about reading it later, and then start engaging a conversation and just let your hand write. And that way you're tuned into Grandma. It's Grandma coming in to talk to you, and you can ask about anything and have a great conversation. And say, when you're done, say, hey, Grandma, thank you. This was great. I'll talk to you another time. Bye. Have lots of fun. And she'll go.
Paulie is asking, voodoo, what is the process of the frequency from the sender to the receiver?
I don't know. I haven't really studied voodoo in any sort of detail. I'm not sure what their process is, but the best that I can understand is it goes back to that similarities attract and perpetuate. A very close analog to this one would be God form assumption. And what I mean by that one is, like, I work with the Norse deities. I've followed the Norse tradition for a very long time. And if I want to connect with Odin, if I want to kind of sort of become the living embodiment of Odin, I'll read about Odin. I'll look at the Odin statue. I'll put on some blue clothing. I'll think about what it's like to be Odin. I'll ask Odin to be present, because I'm tuning my frequency to his frequency. And then I'm saying, can we share this space together? Invocation. You see, evocation is calling a spirit into the room, or a deity into the room. Invocation is calling them to be within you. So I have to tune my frequency to my understanding of Odin, invite him in, and then we kind of match frequencies at that level. That's the only way I can speak to that, is that sort of God form assumption level. I don't know the practices of voodoo, though.
I like this next question from Polly. We got about 2.5 minutes here. Dark forces and psyops. Is there a connection?
Yeah, there absolutely is, because a lot of the psyops are definitely fear-based, sending negative energies, getting people to feel uncomfortable, scrambling their thoughts, because whenever we're in a fear state, our thoughts are going to get scrambled. And absolutely, there's absolutely connected in that sense. But now, is it the dark forces creating psyops, or is it the other way? I think it's a little bit of both. You see the psyops and humans that are creating the negative effect, or creating that negative energy, connecting with beings that know that kind of stuff, and then they start this kind of feedback process. But I do think it all starts with humans, and then these other dark forces kind of contribute a little bit to it. But it's really human generated, I believe.
90 seconds. We got 2 questions. Let's see if we can get them in. David wants to know, do you see technology catching up with any of these topics?
I don't see why, because spirituality is a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing, not a physical thing, where technology tends to be more. However, with that said, I wanted to discount the phone apps, like Ghost Radio and some of the Necrophonics, some of these ghost apps where they can speak through your phone. However, I've been getting good results with it. So I'm going to be open-mindedly skeptical, because I've thwarted a K2. I've had a K2 meter going off next to me, and I'm like, there's nothing in the room. But the K2 meter is going off, but I'm like feeling there's nothing in the room, only to realize my phone was next to the K2 meter going it off. So I was more on than the K2 meter.
And finally, have you ever had a message that made you stop or back out of a situation?
Oh yeah, it will definitely happen. I get that feeling, that nudge of like, nope, don't go there, don't do this. Nope, not going to happen. More often than not, though, I get the message, hey, this is the path you want to take. Hey, this is what you want to do. This is where you want to go. I find those more effective. But yeah, those messages definitely come through.
Kaedrich, I mean it when I say this. Anytime you want to come on Spaced Out Radio, you just make the call, and we're going to make that happen. You have been an absolutely amazing guest tonight, and what a privilege for us and the audience and myself as host to have you on this show. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you too. This has been amazing. I love your questions. I love your audience. This has been a great experience, a great conversation. So I absolutely will be back for sure.
Kaedrich.com is his website. Extra Small Lee Strauss coming up next in the Q&A.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Man, did you ever resonate with our audience?
Awesome. I love that. Thank
Beautiful. I had just an amazing time.
you.
And I got to tell you, man, I was pretty down coming out in because I had a really hard day today mentally. And you just changed that entire focus. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for that. I love that. Thank you so much.
All right, my friend, you take care. We're going to let you go. And anytime you want to come on, let us know.
You got it, man. I will definitely let you know, because this was great and I'm looking forward to more.
Me too. Take care, Kaedrich.
You too, man. You take care.
Kaedrich Olsen, everybody. How awesome is he? He was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'll be right back.
Yes, I had to take a nap. I needed one really bad after today.
right. Davey's back. Let's get to Lee. How you doing, buddy?
Oh man, I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. I missed the hell out of
Oh,
you, man.
dude, I missed you, buddy. I missed you. Tim and I worked so hard on the studio, man. What do you think of the new look?
I do like it. I do like it.
You like the bar?
Yeah. Pass me one.
Right?
Mm,
And we even have a
Yeah.
nice sitting area right across the desk here now. So that way, if Tim's ever feeling healthy enough to get back in studio, we got it all set up,
yeah.
which is cool. Ah,
Or if you have a visitor,
yeah.
another visitor. Oh.
Maybe if Extra Small comes back up. Thank you to T-Bone, CS, Pam, and Kitty. No Swamp Dweller tonight. I'm going to restart Swamp Dweller next week. And Lee, thank you for being here. So we're going to go straight to you after I intro the show, okay? All right. Hard to believe we're already in hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and this show is flying on by. Tonight we got Lee Strauss coming up with the Q&A right after this. But first, I want to say hello to all of you tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nebel. Nebel is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp. All right, Extra Small, Lee Strauss hanging on out here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Dave. But like you, it's been a day, and I'm just happy to be off work, and I'm happy to be here hanging out with my good buddy, Dave Scott.
Oh, man, thank you. Thank you. I had just one of those days today. One of those days. And I came into the day so positively, and then boom, just like a gut punch. It's like, what am I doing here? Where are we going with this? What's this all about? You know?
Yeah.
I got to say this, though.
Yeah.
As somebody who suffers from depression and anxiety, and I'm very, very open about that, because no offense to the ladies out there, women are very good at expressing their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Men are not, especially when it comes to being a little bit sick and twisted in your mind like I am. Okay. And I don't mean that in a negative, derogatory way. I mean that as, mental health is something that, men try to push to the side,
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, man, this show, each and every night, I had to fight myself to get into the studio tonight. I had to fight myself like anything. And I was just like, oh God, and I literally, this was my day. I worked an hour and a half overtime tonight.
Oh,
Okay. After having a bad day, I got home. My beautiful partner made me dinner, which was fantastic. And then I'm still walking around like a zombie from the day. And my son is like, come on, Dad, it's time for me to beat your butt in a game of mini sticks. And I'm like, bud, just give me a minute. Give me 1 minute. Like all I wanted was 1 minute. And I literally collapsed on my bed, man. And I was just like in mental stress, just trying to relieve it. Go play mini sticks with my son. He beats me again, little jerk. Okay. Come into the studio. I don't want to do the show. I don't want to do the show. No, I just took 3 weeks off the show to rebuild the studio. I'm not going to do that to our great audience who relies on us to be here every night. I'm not going to do that to our radio stations because they waited and their patience with us was long enough. Okay. And now it was like I had a great guest with Kaedrich Olsen. Like I needed that guest. I even like 9 minutes into the show, I sent Dirty Filth, our booker, a message on Facebook Messenger. And I'm like, dude, you hit a home run with this guy. This guy is absolutely great. Absolutely great. And then now you're on, and my spirit is completely different than what it was just 3 hours ago.
There you go. Sometimes it's the little things that just make it all better, you know, getting back in the saddle and doing your thing and having a great guest. Awesome.
I want to talk to you about AI.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're a guy who does a lot of video, whether you're in the forest looking for Bigfoot, whether you're up on the mountains, whether it's Mount Baker or Mount Adams in the Pacific Northwest looking for UFOs. And you have caught some incredible footage. You really have over the years. And, you know, I've seen your work, man. Sometimes I just go, you got to be kidding me. There's no way you caught that. You got to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
now with AI, I don't know if you saw this video or not out of Panama, where this gentleman claims to have watched a meteorite go through the sky and it hit near his ground, and he films it with the fire coming out. I mean, I know it's a fake video, okay? But this thing literally looks like he painted a potato silver. Okay, he brings it home, puts it in this case, notices something black on it.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he starts making videos about how this black goo on there is starting to grow, and it's starting to grow tentacles, and it's literally looking like from the movie Venom, you know, the superhero character Venom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at first I was like, I don't know. That looks like a potato. Okay. A painted potato. Like, who paints a russet potato? And then, you know, with the stuff growing on it and the way it was, like, he had it just perfect where it was slightly moving. Like it was just like a twitch. And then it kept getting bigger. He's talking about in further videos how it's getting bigger and bigger. And then in one of the videos, I watched him just take his bare hand and touch it. And I'm like, this is fake.
Yeah.
This is fake. Because anybody in that situation is going to wear gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to know what it is. And if there was something real about that, I'm pretty sure there may be some people knocking at his door saying, can we take a look at this, please?
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, you're probably not going to get it back. You know what I'm saying? But
oh, yeah.
But this is where, in my opinion, AI is starting to become very, very realistic when it comes to videos, because to people who don't understand videos or are naive to videos, they're going to look at that. And I've read some of the comments like, oh my God, like, how did you touch that with just bare hands? Or how did you find this? How come it's growing so fast? What is it? You know, and it's not that people are gullible. It's just that they don't know. Right?
Right.
So my question to you is, at what point in the UFO world or the cryptid world or even the paranormal world are we going to have to say video is no longer proof or evidence? Because we're getting very close to that point, Lee.
Yes, we are. You are absolutely correct. I would say that we're probably a year out from not being able to tell whatsoever. Some of the things right now that you can look on, like YouTube or Facebook is they'll show like for instance, okay, it looks like there's a Sasquatch in the ditch, right? But they show several different pictures, and between those several different pictures, you can tell that one is not matching the other because of the background or because of the color of the grass, or there's different telltale signs that shows us that these two pictures don't belong. You got to be a detective, you just have to anymore. AI is getting so stupid. It's getting ridiculous. I would say that for a while we're going to be able to say, okay, well, this person's had this video up on YouTube for the past 10 years. So that could be real, what we're looking at here, right? But very quickly, if it's a new video coming out of a spectacular thing, you can't trust it. You can't. It's getting really difficult. Most of the UFOs that you will see are going to be objects that are off in the distance, and they might flash colors and do that sort of thing. But if you're seeing a lot of detail in a craft, and a lot, like where it's really close up to the camera, yeah, you're going to have to question it. You just are.
And it's sad because the worst part about it is a lot of these videos, like this fake Venom character, goo, whatever you want to call it, they're getting the clicks. They're getting the million plus views. And it's sad that we need to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But we do, because views and clicks can be major money. Major money. If you get a video with 1 million plus views, you're looking at putting thousands of dollars in your pocket.
Yeah.
Because you're creating traffic to that area, and that's going to set off the algorithms for YouTube or TikTok or whatever it may be, and you're going to be able to cash in. It's almost like back in or any time in music where you have a one-hit wonder. All you need is one hit song, and you can become a millionaire. Now, we're not at the millionaire stage for the most part on social media, but there are a number of people who are making that one-hit wonder video, and they are hitting it out of the park financially because of it. And they don't care if it's fake. They don't care if people don't believe, because there's going to always be that person. I don't believe in the mainstream media. It's all bull crap and lies, and nobody tells the truth. But look at this potato that's been painted silver. That's a real meteorite with some goo on there with alien life on it. And that's where we are as a society.
Yeah. With this Boogosphere as well. I mean, it was fake as all get out, as far as I'm concerned, just looking at the engravings that were on the object. But yet you've got somebody creates a story, right? And it's a story. If you put it out there and a lot of people are interested in the story, that's great for them, because like you say, it makes them money. But on the back end, they could be doing a lot of harm to the ufology, the community of ufologists, right? Us, the people that are interested in this sort of thing. Because then you get more and more people saying, well, it's just hogwash anyway, right? Because of all this previous stuff. So it makes this look bad in the end, even though those individuals that are making up a good story make thousands of dollars on it.
So you said something very interesting. You think we're within the next year or two of not being able to trust any videos. Is that just going to be the time when we throw our hands in the air and say it's all BS, so we just can't trust it? Because most people won't have a detailed eye like you do for video, Lee.
Well, a lot of the times I have to throw my hands in the air. A lot of the things that I see out there right now, and I'm like, well, it's too good to be true, or it's just too far off in the distance for me to give my, a genuine opinion, because, and for myself, right? I critique the crap out of that stuff for my own good, right? Even when I take something and I think I might have saw something, and I look at it, and then I have to go through it in my mind. Okay, well, maybe it's a moth in a flashlight. That's what I could be seeing right now. It's not an object in the sky, but people will go ahead and release it and say it's a UFO or whatever the case may be. Look, they're following the light or whatever. Well, it's a freaking moth. And now they'll do it with AI, just to get the same clicks. So it's unfortunately, it's detrimental for us who actually know what to look for, and and it's detrimental to the community at large here.
It's getting tough.
Mhm.
It's getting very tough in order to figure this out. If video, you want a point to make?
Yeah, it just occurred to me that we might be able to make a tool with AI to detect AI, right? So we should be able, with the technology, with AI technology, to say or run it through some sort of a scanner to find out whether or not it was built by AI or whether or not it's a real video, right? So I imagine that that's very close as well. So we may be looking pretty good until, of course, you might get this back and forth thing where someone comes up with a new way to make a video that can cheat basically around that. But then you'll see this back and forth, I'm sure.
What's going to be in your opinion, what is going to be the revolution next to prove UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts? I mean, if we have to eliminate video now, okay, like for instance, I know personally that if I see a Lee Strauss video, that it's going to be proper because I know you personally.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see Joe or Jane Smith filming a Bigfoot out in the forest or capturing a UFO in the sky, I don't know them from Adam. So immediately my hackles are going to go up on whether or not that is a truthful video or not. So what is the next step in trying to use something as proof that the existence of these craft are real, or Sasquatch or Dogman are real, or ghostly activity is real? Because if we can't trust video, which means we can't trust our eyes and our mind, what can we trust?
I used to think when I got going with this and I had a single camera, I'm going to need 2 cameras because I want to capture this thing or these things on a couple different cameras at the same time, just for validation's sake, right? But AI is getting to the point now where even they might come out with 2 videos or 3 videos of an object from different angles, but it's starting to be uncanny. So my theory of using multiple cameras, basically multiple different sensors to capture an object in the sky, is not gonna work anymore. It just won't. Anybody can point to my stuff and say, well, even though you captured it on 2 cameras or 3 cameras, slightly different resolution or whatever, AI can do that too now, right? Or whatever the case. It's happening. So I guess if you have something, if anybody in the audience has any evidence whatsoever that they've captured on film, I suggest you get it out on YouTube, and at least that time stamps that evidence, right? So they can't say, well, you made it with AI. Don't sit on it. Don't wait on it. Get it published as fast as you can so that at least, that evidence is out there and If AI hasn't gotten to the point, that's what I'm trying to say.
Do we see a day, in your opinion, as we got about 4 minutes to go for break here? Do we see a day where personal experiences, the ones we have been pushing and castigating people for over the last couple of decades, do we see eyewitness testimony now becoming more of a lifeline to the truth of the phenomena than the video or audio itself?
I think you need both. I really do. Um, every video or photo that you take has a story behind it, right? And it's the video and the photo with the story that makes it plausible. If somebody's just going to throw up a video or a photo and not give you a backstory on where exactly this happened, when did it happen, how did it happen, what were you feeling like that day, what was your thoughts? I mean, all of that stuff comes into play. It makes it real, right? So that's very important.
I get that, because what you're doing is you're showing different machinations of what happened. And I get
Mhm.
that. And I think that's great. But you know what? To somebody sitting on the other side of the continent, Lee, who has no idea who Lee Strauss is or no idea who Dave Scott is, they're saying, well, this is another trust me, bro situation. I don't want to deal with that. I don't know these guys.
Right.
I mean, look at Dave Scott. He's got a radio show and he's on YouTube and he's got a YouTube channel, so on and so forth. He's probably just, doing this for clicks. He's probably just doing this for some sort of, building of his own social media platform. So I could see where, people are going to judge on that. Heck, I'm already judging on that. You know,
Yeah.
and this is where I think, and I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, that
Mhm.
if you all of a sudden say capture a photo in your backyard of a UFO landing or a dog man walking through, and you have say you have it on your ring cam, you got it on your cell phone, plus your eyewitness testimony, sure, that's going to add credence and credibility to the topic. But for the most part, the way people have been able to manipulate social media, that's where I wonder if all of a sudden, like reading through our chat room, if it's Jules or Tim or Benno or Joe or any of them who are coming up to me saying, Dave, I got to tell you my story from last night. I don't know what happened, but I woke up with scratches on my elbow. I woke up with you know bruises on my shoulder, and there's 3 dots there. I think physical evidence now is going to be that next step, along with the eyewitness testimony, rather than video. Your thoughts?
I agree. If you can come with some sort of other evidence. Okay, I don't know how much time we have. We might have to run this into the next part, but
35 seconds.
I have a Geiger counter. So if you can video the Geiger counter going off along with the video that you're capturing of the object, I mean, if there's other substantial evidence that you can back up your claims with, that's huge. If it's not video, if it's something else more tangible, even better.
That's really the only way to put it, my friend.
Mhm.
That's really the only way to put it. Lee, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because Lee Strauss will be here for another 30 minutes for the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. He has a show every Friday night on our YouTube channel called Element 115. You may want to check that out as well. We'll be right back.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
That was a good segment.
Oh, yes, sir. It's good,
Where
good,
do you
good.
wanna go from here, man? I know you were talking Three Eye Atlas earlier. You want to go
Yeah.
back there, or do you want to go somewhere else?
We can go somewhere else. I'm sure they've heard it, you
Yeah, but
know.
we have to think of the radio audience too.
Okay. Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, it's just the weird stuff that thing has got going on. It's
Well,
nuts.
let's get back into it.
Okay.
I'm curious about it because I didn't get to watch the whole show. You know,
Yeah.
I did get to the point where you called Tim a rock though on the chat room.
A rock. Oh, Tim.
That may have been me. I'm not gonna lie. That may have been me.
I didn't see it happen. I wish I would have.
Benno, Dave, personal, but have you been marked too? Marked how? Give me an example of how I've been marked. With the number of the beast? No. Definitely not. And no, I'm not one of these morons who puts my ID chips in my arm, just like the Bible states.
You don't want to tell them about that bite mark I left on your back?
Well, that was supposed to be private. What a guy. What a guy. You know, this week, getting everything back to normal has just felt good.
Yeah. Yeah. Holy.
Mm-hmm. Extra small Lee Strauss will be at our next Vegas party.
Uh-huh. Definitely.
You don't open borders for aliens. You open the sky for aliens, man. Open sky for aliens.
There you go. Yeah, we got great people.
Benno, I have not, but I have had strange happenings.
We had some crazy stuff happen tonight, Tim and I.
What do you mean?
Well,
I
my
know
mic went dead.
When his computer all of a sudden crashed.
Before that, my mic went dead, and then I couldn't hear him after I was able to fix the mic. So that went haywire, and then Tim,
Why
of
did you
course,
unplug the cord?
I didn't.
Maybe
I don't know what happened. Something
maybe
in
your foot did.
no, ghost in the machine, man. The cord was plugged in.
How'd that happen?
And then my phone call with my girl was like getting really wonky too. I didn't understand why that was happening.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
I finally had to say
Oh,
that
you itemed up pretty quick with her.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We've been talking for a while before we met, but it wasn't getting real serious until like a week before she got here.
What did she think about your collection of extra small shirts?
Well, she tried to wear one.
Oh,
Nah, man. I do have them all hanging in the closet, and they're by color, not by size.
right. That's awesome. I'm happy for you, brother.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's another paranormal investigator.
Well, of course she is.
Mm-hmm.
We got about 40 seconds.
Oh boy.
Thank you tonight to T-Bone, Pam, Kitty, and CS for the great super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Yes, Lee does have 10 pairs of Dave boxers. Yes, he does. He told me. Told me he bought 10. You should too. At our Spaced Out Radio store where there's no ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We're going to have Lee Strauss come on in for the Q&A here momentarily. But first, we want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Lee Strauss is here in the big show for the final half hour. We call it the Q&A with Lee. And Lee, right before we get to the 3-Eye Atlas, which you were talking about on Element 115 earlier this week. Okay, just a couple of days ago. I want to ask you, I don't know if you saw this on X or not, but Ask a Poll, which is a very, very popular UFO Reddit and independent media site, they came out and stated, why hasn't Anna Paulina Luna, who leads the Conspiracy Club, okay, and that's what I like to call it, the Conspiracy Club, because it's way more fun than the governmental name of it. And I don't even remember the governmental name because Conspiracy Club sounds so much more fun. Not to be insultive, just let's have some fun. Well, apparently she has stated that both her and I believe Matt Gaetz actually saw alien bodies. And so Ask a Poll was saying, why haven't we had any hearings on these alien bodies? Why aren't we going down this road? Lee, I'm curious your thoughts, because Matt Laszlo has a lot of questions about this.
Well, we're not in the skiff. We don't have a need to know.
That's exactly what she said. Not in the skiff, but that she has seen the bodies. Okay. I don't know if they were on photo, on video, or if she was walked into a secret base with her top secret clearance to be shown. And then she says, what I've seen, I am not allowed to talk about. Why would you bring it up? Why?
Because that's a little bit of a hint that there are things going on that, you know, she's talking directly to us, right? Us who believe in this stuff, us that have seen this stuff, okay, and experienced it. She's saying, you're right, this stuff is real. That's basically what she's saying. She's just giving us a head nod.
I understand that, Lee, but you know what? When you're in a position like she is, there's that old saying, and look, I'm Mr. Woo here, okay? If there is a bow tie that had Woo on it, a big W on one side and a couple of O's on the other, I would rock that bow tie. Okay. I am Mr. Woo. I love the Woo. I want to believe this. Okay. Not be live this, but believe this. I do. But I think it also comes to the person who is saying it. So let's say one of our audience members listening in on KZFX in California, okay, maybe they work at 29 Palms where we're broadcasting into right now, as we say thank you to all the agents and agencies tuning us on in right now. We appreciate you listening, okay? If all of a sudden, let's say one of them comes up and says, hey, I got some news for you. at this exact time, at this exact place, at this exact location. We need you to be there because you're going to see something. Come with me, meet us there. And we go and we see it. But now you're not allowed to tell the Spaced Out Radio listeners. That's not fair. Okay. I wouldn't tease the listeners in saying, oh, by the way, I was down at 29 Palms at an open event for KZFX radio where we are broadcasting. And I brought Lee with me and we went and saw this. Well, we can't tell you.
Mm.
The audience is going to be like, well, why would you bring it up, Dave? Why would you do that? And look, I know there are some times that and once again, since I'm being a hypocrite tonight, I will say this. Okay, there are times when I have had information, but I can't tell you who told me or where it happened. That's the journalistic part of this all. But when you are in a position of authority trying to bring out the story like somebody like Anna Paulina Luna or Matt Gaetz or Nancy Mates or Tim Burchett or whomever it may be, if you are going to tease like that, okay, you have to be able to play the cards to back it up. You can't just say that and then walk away from the subject. It's kind of like when you get women, you won't know what I mean by this. No offense. Okay, this isn't a misogynistic comment. But when a guy gets friend zoned, okay, you have this lovely girl, this lovely woman you're in love with, and she is your best friend, and you talk every day. It's pretty much like having a friend wife, and then she gives you the yeah, but, and you're like, why can't I find a nice guy like you? And you're like, I'm right here. It's the same thing. Yeah, I saw aliens, but I can't tell you about them. Her position that if you're going to make, and this gets to the quote I was going to say about 15 minutes ago before I diatribed, extraordinary words require extraordinary evidence.
Well, that's right. So what would that do to you? What that would do to you and it would do to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people out there that are listening, is that would make you want to dig that much harder so that you could get some evidence that you could bring to them, at least close to what you saw, right? I would dig so deep and I would try so hard to bring something forward to prove to you guys what I saw that I'm not supposed to talk about. You know what I mean?
But if you can't talk about it legally, don't bring it up. Unless you're willing to whistleblow on it, which we really haven't, in my opinion. And Josh Rutledge and I disagree on this, and that's okay. Many others disagree with me on this, but we don't have a UFO whistleblower. She has an opportunity to be a whistleblower, so be a whistleblower. Nobody else in the conspiracy crew is going to be. Nobody else is going to be, because all they're sharing is their stories of what they know.
So what's good for the goose then is good for the gander, right? So she's expecting people to come forward and then talk about what they've seen and spill their guts, but she won't do it herself, is what you're saying.
If you're going to make a comment like that, don't you think you should?
I mean, that makes sense.
Matt Laszlo from Askapol is pretty much saying, you made this extraordinary comment. Why don't you back it up? Why has this not been brought up in the hearings? And she made the comment 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's got to come out with it then. I mean, really, she's asking people to do that. And if she can't do it herself, then why is she asking people to do it?
No idea. And that is the point that we're getting at. Let's go over to 3i Atlas. Apparently they found some water on this big thing.
Yep.
What do you got for us?
Well, the darn thing is still green, and they can't understand why it's green. They say that there's not enough nickel on this thing to have it continue to fluoresce green as it's coming in. But the weird thing about this is that the nucleus of the 3i Atlas is red. Which are they telling us that, it's off-gassing something else and it's just staying in within the nucleus and it's not spreading out to the outside or to the corona of this object? It's just that there's so many bizarre things, as if it is now moving to intercept Mars as it's off-gassing every 17 minutes, like clockwork. This thing is off-gassing, and it's propelling itself closer and closer to actually rendezvousing with Mars. Dave, it's really strange, but I'm sure you've seen pictures of Florida, and they've got the storm tracks that are coming into Florida, and they say, well, it could go this way, or it could go this way, or it could go over here. Well, they're doing the same thing with the 3i Atlas, right? Trying to predict its trajectory, as it's moving closer to Mars. One of those trajectories that they have drawn, Dave, is like the distance between Washington State and New York City. That's how close this thing could possibly be at some point to Mars.
That's
which
close.
which is stupid close. And the thing I'm thinking about is they've admitted that NASA has admitted that there is some sort of atmosphere on Mars. You remember the old pictures and videos they would show us of Mars where it had a red sky, and of course then they took the filter away and it had a blue sky. Well, if Mars has some sort of atmosphere and that darn thing comes close enough, it'll peel that atmosphere away.
Well, I think the big question is, and this is where maybe, my own tinfoil is wrapped a little too tight around my head here. Okay. But how do they know about the colors? Because all they're going on is computer imagery of what the algorithms of the James Webb Telescope are telling them.
Yeah.
So do we really know that it's filled with water or doesn't have enough nickel in it? Maybe we need some nickel back up there. Right? Look at this meteor. Right? I don't know. But I just don't get it. And the way this thing seems to be just changing its trajectory every so often. Now heading to Mars. I mean, remember, it was supposed to be coming towards Earth very closely where you could see it with a pair of binoculars. At one point, they were potentially calling for that. Wow. And now all of a sudden it makes a right turn to go to Mars. What, did it miss Albuquerque? The left turn at Albuquerque? I don't know. Bugs Bunny. Come on, everybody remembers that.
I got it. I got it.
Thank you. Okay. The whole point that I'm getting at is, do we have some drunken teenage kids flying this thing? Right? That all of a sudden, let's take it. Let's do a detour over to Mars here. See what's going on. Check out the new microbial life that the rovers have found. Boy, who didn't call that one?
I mean, we all knew long ago. Come on.
Absolutely. So are you really buying what they know about 3i Atlas and what it is? Because I will tell you this. At first, I thought it was going to be just another meteor coming through because I like looking at meteors in the sky. If you've never seen a meteor in the sky or taken the time to enjoy the green glow that comes off of it, the distance, it's pretty amazing. It really is. But the way this thing is acting, which seems to be a little bit more erratic now than Oumuamua ever was in 2017, it does make you wonder whether or not Avi Loeb from Harvard University was onto something, saying, we can't rule out a craft with 3i Atlas. And for God's sakes, can we start naming these things with good names? Like, can't we just call this thing Phil? Okay. Or call it something like Mike or Lee. There goes Lee through the sky. Lee in the
It's extra
sky.
small.
Diamonds.
Yeah. We name hurricanes, right? Better names than we can figure out what to call these things. So there you go. But this thing is traveling super, super fast. It's the fastest object that we've ever seen that we know of coming into not our atmosphere, but into our solar system. So, it's by orders of magnitude, this thing is super quick. So there's that, which is bizarre, and it's speeding up as it comes in, which it would do because of the gravitational pull of the sun. But still, it's off gassing in the right rate to move it towards Mars. And why? Maybe this thing does have another name.
Marvin?
Nope. Maybe it's the 12th planet.
Oh, are you saying? Don't go Nibiru on me.
Oh,
Me.
It's what about it though? Come on now, you wanted to take the woo train.
Because Nibiru is not a cigar-shaped object.
They don't know what shape this thing is. They haven't said it's cigar-shaped.
Why don't you just call it Cheech?
Nibiru. Wormwood. Who knows?
Are you really on the Nibiru bandwagon?
Well, they said they'd be coming back, right? Maybe this is it.
I don't know.
Where this thing, where this originated, right? Where this object came from?
I know it came from outside of our solar system.
You remember the wow signal?
Yes.
This is where this thing comes from.
Really? I did not know that.
The same space where we were receiving the wow signal from is where this thing originated.
Wow, I did not know that.
And that is a wow. Yeah. No kidding.
We have just over 4 minutes to go here.
Huh?
I got to ask you an important question here. Totally off topic. Okay. For everybody who knows, I'm a workaholic. I have a daytime job and then I moonlight in radio. Okay. At my daytime job, I work with a flat earther.
Oh boy.
Brian is his name.
Hmm.
And he thinks the earth is flat. And he debates me every day on it.
Yeah.
And he believes that we've never gone to the moon. He believes that everything's up in space is a hoax, although he does believe in UFOs and aliens, which is kind of weird. So I think he's only like a half-breed flat earther. Okay.
Yeah.
But here he is saying, when he talks about the reason why we can't go to space is because the firmament doesn't let us, I mean, it's just wild, man. How do you deal with a flat earther that you got to work with every day? Because outside of his flat earth nut barism, he is a good guy. He's a nice guy. He makes me laugh every day.
Yeah.
But I got to hold this against him. And originally, I thought it was one of two things that caused this. Number one, he likes soccer. So that is something that is a red flag for me right off the bat. But number two, in hockey, he's a goaltender. He played goaltender. And getting pucks shot at you at like 90 miles an hour, you can't have all your brain cells in the game of hockey or in life if you enjoy being hit with a frozen puck at 90 to 100 miles an hour. So it's a double whammy. And you add to the fact that he's a flat earther too, or a part-time flat earther. How do you deal with this, Lee?
Well, the one thing that I point to, because I've had some friends that have been the same way. I'm like, okay, so you see that big ball in the sky that's a moon, the moon that's up there? If you notice different times of the month, it has a different shape. The light that's shining on it has a different shape. And the reason for that is because the sun is back there shining on the planet. And then that reflection goes up to the moon. So it's got a concave to it, right? That's because that sunlight is hitting Earth and then shining on the moon. So it's going to have this concave. And I'm thinking I might be crazy.
Well,
maybe that's not a good answer, but that's what I always thought about.
Here's my answer to him on this. I said, why hasn't anybody ever fallen off from Australia or New Zealand yet? Why haven't they fallen off? They're at the bottom. Why haven't they fallen off?
Yeah. I have to think of another way to satellites, for instance. I'm sure there's something that we can come up with the way satellites are.
I don't know.
But I have to put some more thought into it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because he doesn't believe air travel either. He believes that we fly, but we fly in a straight line, not with the curvature of the earth. I'm like, well, there are literally thousands of pilots who would say you're wrong on that. No. Earth is flat. Maybe he's just doing it to upset me. Major Lee, thank you for a great night on the Q&A as we say goodnight to Lee. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Very good show.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You did well.
Oh, you did well.
You did well.
Well, it's all due to you, man. All due to you.
Stop it. You're making me blush right now.
Yeah. Well, I can see that.
I will never show my face to you again.
Yeah.
Because you make me blush.
That was good.
What are you up to this weekend?
I've got to do some grocery shopping tomorrow morning, and I'm going to start getting all my camping gear ready, my equipment ready, and everything for a 4-day adventure.
Where are you going?
Going to the Olympic Strange Days
Oh, where's that?
with Toby Johnson. It's out near Forks.
Where?
Near Forks, Washington, you know, Twilight and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice area in there, too.
Yeah. Do a little sky watching, do some Bigfooting, some paranormal stuff. Yeah, that's the I will not be here on the 10th of October.
Where will you be?
I will be there at the Olympic Strange Days.
Can I come?
If you want to pay, I think there's still spots available. Maureen Morgan will be there and a bunch of other people.
No, I don't. Unless I'm invited, I'm retired from conferences.
It's an out and about thing, Dave. It's just everybody's just camping, right? We're all camping together in one big, huge campsite, campground. But yeah, there'll be a bunch of, people that are Sasquatch investigators and ufologists and everything. He wants to keep the group kind of small, so I think there's probably
I can't. That's Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend.
I think there's like 48 people that are going to be there, but it should be a blast.
Very cool.
I was hoping you guys would do something like that, like instead of like having a conference where you go to a hotel and all that everybody just stays out in the bush somewhere.
Well, when we do our conference up here next year, there will be camping at the heritage site.
Okay.
So, yeah, like if people want to dry camp there, they could dry camp there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's what I would be doing. I'm not going to stay in a hotel or anything like that.
I would even, that would be actually kind of cool for all of our guests. Like if we can pull a few RV trailers into that area. And that way, if people wanted to camp and hang out with us rather than get hotel rooms, that would be really freaking cool. That's actually a great idea, Lee.
It wasn't my idea. Toby Johnson came up with the idea. So
I'm going to give you credit for that. That way, we don't have to separate the guests from the speakers. And that way, the guests can hang out with the speakers a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yep. I'll you know what I'll do is I can send you the itinerary just so that you can kind of get an idea of what he has planned. I mean, so that it's
Show of hands in the chat room before we get going here. Show of hands in the chat room. How many of you would likely, I'm saying 75% or more chance, come to CaribouCon? You can come hang out at the museum. Come hang out with Lee, myself, Merle, Tim James. Because we're going to be putting tickets up on sale here very, very soon. Probably within the next month. If you're in the U.S., you will need a passport to fly. Or if you're driving, a driver's license will get you across. As long as it's an enhanced driver's license, it will get you across the border. T-Bone's coming. J Truth Seeker's coming. Could be a number of you.
Well, just think about the stories that everybody has when you're sitting around the campfire, man.
I know.
Come on.
I know. Goatee, you better be there. It's going to be a double shot for you. You're coming to Vegas with us in May. Then you're going to come on up to BC for September. Actually, to be blunt with you, it would be 1 year from this weekend right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
1 year from this weekend.
Well, I'm definitely down.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the Toby made the tickets around $200 is what they are, and that's a pretty good price for everything that's going on.
Our VIP tickets, the early bird tickets, are going to be starting, I think, at $179 Canadian.
Mhm.
That's VIP tickets to hang out with everybody. That will include a full tickets for the event, a Skywatch with Lee, a Bigfoot tour with me at one of our Bigfoot sites, not Flight 21, the other one. And I believe private ghost tour with all of us, or with Merle and whoever else is taking part in that.
Yeah.
Now remember, if you're in the US, that's Canadian dollars. So it's like $28 US.
I don't know. We've got the most expensive gas right here in Washington State right now, out of anywhere in the U.S.
It's because they won't open up the pipelines here in BC to get the gas down to you.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, my friend and everybody out there, I am going to go hit the hay.
Me too. T-Bone, CS, Pammy Sue, and Kitty Caddywhack, thank you very much for the super chats. All right. Appreciate your love. Appreciate your support. I will be back on Monday, where my guest will be. Who will it be? It'll be Dean Alioto. We're going to be talking about the UFOs and ET phenomena. I've wanted to interview this guy for a long time. It's going to be great. Absolutely great. So we'll see you on Monday. Sweet Robbie G, I believe, is in tomorrow night. Not sure about Sunday yet. He just, he's a mystery on his own. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. I never know. But we love him anyways because he's sweets. He is sweets. Lee, you have an amazing weekend. Tim and I are going back out to Flight 21 on Sunday. So
I'm so jealous, man. Seriously.
I know you are. And you know what? Just remember, when we're out there, we are wishing that you and Merle were there with us, man. We really are.
Right on.
Yeah. And by the way, for anybody who has just one quick thing here, okay? Anybody who is thinking of driving up to Caribou Con next year, Lee can attest how beautiful of a drive it is up here.
It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. It is.
And I even forewarned Lee to take your time and drive up here. Okay. Like, don't rush up here. Take your time and enjoy the incredible view.
Mm-hmm.
And you did. And look what happened. You fell in love with it.
I did.
Fuck it. You're just going to have to move here.
It's not up to me. Somebody else also has to weigh in on that.
Oh my God. You've been dating for like 6 hours. Already trying to put a ring on it.
I wouldn't mind.
I love it. Lee, have a great weekend, buddy.
All right, man. Later.
Much love to you, and thank you, brother.
Yep. Bye.
To the rest of you, I will see you on Monday. All right. Canada will let you in if you got a speeding ticket. That's bullshit. Okay. It's a criminal record. Like if you have a DUI, that's different. But a speeding ticket, you'll get in. J Truth Seeker, you forgot to put at the end, in British Columbia, Canada. That's called the Fraser Canyon Drive in British Columbia, Canada. Thank you, guys. That was an amazing show. 2 nights in a row, we just like hit home runs. Thank you, Dirty Filth. Don't thank me. Thank Dirty Filth. He's the man behind it. I will see you all next week. And much love. You guys be good, okay? Have a safe weekend. I'll let you know about Flight 21 on Monday. Take care.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.